and go.
Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
Hello! DrawBomb time!
Whoa!
That's a new thing I'm going to yell out at the beginning of every episode.
I think it's marketable.
DrawBomb time!
Kid friendly, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Because kids know time.
Right. They're familiar. They can tell time very well.
They know of the concept.
Yeah. Unfortunately, everything else about the show is not very kid friendly.
No, not at all. We
Unless they're very
talk about poo-poos
interested
and ding-dongs.
in politics and ding-dongs.
We do talk about politics a lot, and we told ourselves it wasn't going to be that kind of show, but it's hard not to.
Who are we kidding? A lot of material.
Who are we kidding? That is true. There's a lot of material.
Captain Sheepy in the chat already says.
Whoa! Hello, Captain Sheepy.
Says draw guys.
That's right.
That's what this is.
We're draw guys.
Yeah.
Draw. Yeah, see what I did there. But yeah, I guess we should talk about it right off the bat. I mean, we started this episode
Yeah, in case
last week.
In case the viewers are curious as to why we started with a half-done drawing. We had technical difficulties right off the bat last week.
It was technically difficult.
It was, technically.
It was difficult.
But I believe they're sorted out, as far as I can tell. It should be smooth sailing now. So we picked up where we left off, because, you don't just throw this drawing in the trash, this masterpiece.
We also thought it would be good clout to put up some Fall Guys artwork.
Right.
Because,
We'll ride that wave.
we're clout chasers, that's right.
What's popular? Everything we do on our show is based on what sells.
That's right. Sex, we got it, because that sells.
Mm-hmm. What else besides sex?
Peace, according to Megadeth, peace sells.
Is that
But
true?
they also say who's buying. So,
I feel like war sells better than peace, unfortunately.
this is true. It does. Well, I mean, I think that's why they say who's buying. They're,
Alright.
political, like we were talking about. It's fucking crazy politics.
There we are. Right back in our niche.
That's right, politicals. Have you played Fall Guys?
I have. Have you played?
I've played with you, actually.
Yeah,
now that
exactly.
you
That's why I was
mention
laughing at your question. Yeah. Yeah, we're a couple of Fall Guys over
We
here.
played a decent amount over here, over
Please
there, over
need-
here.
Hurry up and make a bomb character.
I do.
that
Well,
I can play
I was
as.
thinking, they have that contest going. Well,
Right.
So they had a contest, and then I think they started another contest where you could bid, and like the money you bid would go to charity, and they would put your costume in the game.
Oh.
So that was going along fine. It was obviously like going to be a bidding war between brands and things like that. But then I saw like most recently on the Fall Guys Twitter was a bidet company had bid $40,001 in order to beat like the previous bid. They bid $40,001 to put a shirt that says "Ask me about my butthole" on it, and that's all it is. Is like the top is just like a blue shirt, and it says "Ask me about my butthole."
Alright.
And then that was in the lead, and then Mr. Beast, the YouTuber who we have talked about in the show, he then upped that bid to $100,000 to have a T-shirt that says "Ask me about my butthole" in the game, and that's currently the winning bid.
Oh, okay. So he pretty much doubled down for the bidet.
He doubled
company.
down for the bidet company to
Good.
have
I like
ask.
that.
I mean, to be fair, like there's no better way to spend your money than to have a T-shirt put in a game that talks
Literally
about your
no
butthole.
better way.
I can't think of one that I would prefer to spend.
I mean, if you got that
If I-
bidet money, you got money to spend.
That's right. I mean, if you got Mr. Beast money, he
Right.
literally
He is.
shows off how much money he has to spend on
Yeah, it's
every
kind
video
of
anyway.
his whole thing.
It's his
How
whole
much money I
shtick.
have.
Let me give you it,
And
which
I
is
feel
also
like
why.
I have a theory that a lot. I mean, I don't dislike him. It's not the kind of stuff I watch, but I have. It seems like a lot of people really, really, really stick up for him, like anytime to any criticism. And I'm wondering if secretly it's just because they don't want to be taken off the list of people that he might give 10 grand to randomly.
They want to be like put up at the front of that list.
Yeah, they're like, well, if I
hey,
talk shit, I remove all chances of him one day just giving me like a giant pile of money.
Well, that's also like that. What's like okay, so that I understand somewhat. I mean, it's obviously nonsensical, but like I get it.
Yeah.
But like the people who like defend like Elon Musk on Twitter or just like billionaire defenders in general, I don't get. Like obviously Mr. Beast is not a billionaire. Yeah, it's because whenever I think of billionaire defenders, I think of that Futurama quote where they're at, like waiting in line for somebody, and then Fry is like there waiting for like I think it's like making fun of the newest iPhone or whatever, and Fry is there and he's just like, oh, look at all these people just standing around slack jawed, blah blah blah, they're a bunch of worthless people. And then Leela turns to him and says like, Fry, you're one of these people, and he says, yeah, and when I'm a rich and famous millionaire, people like me better watch their step. That's the mindset I think of. It's a pretty good like crystallization of the mindset of a lot of people in America who are just like, well, you can't talk shit on Elon Musk.
Our culture is to worship rich people because
they have more money than you.
Because they must have done something right that you did wrong to get to where they are, so they deserve respect. It's not just that their family has had money for the past many generations.
Hey, bucko, if you wanted to be rich and famous like Elon Musk, you should have grown up the heir to a South Africa apartheid emerald mine, just like Elon Musk.
Exactly.
Okay, so
exactly, you gotta pull yourself up by those bootstraps.
That's goddamn right. Your bootstraps of owning slaves in apartheid South Africa. How do you say that word, by the way?
I think you got it. Isn't that right? Apartheid? That's how I always hear it said.
Apartheid?
I might be wrong, but that's how I always hear it.
I've just never been... Like, it's not even, like, how I pronounce the TH, which has been confusing a lot, but it's, like, where do you put the stress? Like, you know, if you say, like... if you say one word, like, for instance... Oh, Christ, I can't even think of, like, in the English language. What's a verb? What's a noun that you can turn into a verb?
Dance.
Okay, shit. Dance. I don't have one for this.
I don't know what you're trying to do with it. I just went with the
terms
you gave me.
So like when I was learning Spanish, like we learned that there's where you put the stress in the word affects like what kind of word it is. Like for instance, mama in Spanish, if you put mama or mama, one of them means boob and the other word means something else.
Okay, so it's like enunciation, kind of like, or like what parts of the word you focus.
Yeah, where you put the stress, the syllable you put the stress on. So like I found out, I saw this thing recently where someone was like, whenever you verbalize, like turn a noun in the English language into a verb, you change what syllable you put the stress on. So I'm trying to think of like a word.
Unless it doesn't work, like the example I gave.
Well, yeah, because dance is one syllable, so it's hard to.
Okay, let's see. Let's try to think of one here.
Like, what's a noun we can turn into a verb?
Party.
Like, party. So if you say party, par is where you get the stress. But if you say partying,
well, party can be a verb too.
Party can be a verb too. So you say we're
let's
gonna
party.
Let's party. I don't know.
I'm going to the party.
I'm going to the party. I don't know. I feel like there's a difference.
The difference is, okay, here's the difference. When I say I'm going to a party, I say it that way. But then when I say let's party, that's how I say it when we're about to have a good time. Yeah, exactly.
So like the video I saw on the internet.
I'm not sold on this. Like we haven't come up with one example yet. Granted, we've only come up with two.
I'm gonna try and. This is true. And one didn't.
I was
qualify,
mocking
so
it when I
now-
just gave that example there. I don't know if that was clear.
No, I totally got that.
Okay, good. It's laying
But-
on pretty thick.
I was trying my best to yes and this, but like I saw this video and like at first I was like, this is bullshit. And then they went through a bunch of nouns that they turn into verbs, and I can't think of any off the top of my head.
I
but
believe
was
that
just
it's
like,
true some cases, but to be like,
it's not
this is
100%.
what
It's just
happens.
it's just like how I before E except after C is true in most cases, but you get like a specific word, and all of a sudden like that shit doesn't matter
Just
anymore.
breaks it all.
Yeah, it just breaks the fucking rules. So, I wish I could find this video, but that would require me having. If we had an engineer, I'd tell somebody else to be like, find this, and then we could continue doing our thing. But me going and looking for this video would just be like a big pause. on the
Yeah.
whole
And
episode.
I
So
get the
let's not do
idea. I get the idea. I don't need to actually
You get the idea.
hear it.
I forget why I got to this. I was making some larger point. I don't remember.
Apartheid.
Apartheid. Yeah. So I don't know if it's you stress the first syllable or the second syllable. I just
should
don't
look
know.
up.
But anyways,
Look it up. You'd know forever.
yeah. Let's have Google just tell us apartheid.
Or you can just usually if you read it, it kind of tells you how it's pronounced.
Oh yeah, but it's nice to have a robot voice confirm your.
It's true.
Because even you could read it and you can still be like, see, it means like anyone can take info that's like,
No.
especially when it comes to.
If you find the info on the internet, then you know it's accurate.
That's how you know it's
don't
true.
need to research any further.
Exactly. I am going to Google this word.
I almost won one today again. I got very close, but I didn't. I know that's not worth bringing up because that's half the games, but it was very, very close.
Whoa. Okay, so this is a pronunciation I had never actually considered before.
Oh, maybe I'm way off then.
So, when I click the speaker icon, he doesn't pronounce it apartheid or apartheid or whatever. He says apartheid. Like the HEID is an A. Like
You remember that
like
old YouTube channel where the guy specifically made it look like there's like a bunch of channels that just pronounce words, and he made his look like exactly like that, except he pronounced everything wrong on
Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah,
It's like,
I do
that's so
remember that.
rude. You know, there's somebody who doesn't know English very well who's like stumbled upon those by accident.
Yeah,
Didn't
I remember
know.
like he'd do something like accumulate, and it'd be like accumulate. Like just completely fuck it up, and
Pretty
it's
hilarious,
like
though.
when remember, like I remember we talked about it like way back when it first came out, not on any public forum, but like that video when I think Jake Gyllenhaal is fucking with the interviewer, but she's
Oh,
just
yeah.
like, how do you pronounce your name? And he's just like, Helen Hule.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you're fucking lying,
Yeah,
dude.
it's actually
Like,
Gillen Hooley.
yeah.
It's funny though.
It's like, it's funny. I mean, I hope he's lying, because that would be like, that's great. Like, I appreciate anyone who just decides like, I'm fucking done with these interviews. I'm just gonna fucking.
I would totally do
lie
that.
out my ass.
Like, kidding me?
I forget who it was, but like I remember seeing like a video where it's just like this person just doesn't care about these like actor interviews to like promote a movie anymore, and it was some guy, and the person's just like, what was it like to be this character? It might have been Harrison Ford. I feel like he's got the same energy, but I think it was someone more younger when they had the same sort of energy. But anyway, they were just like, how would you feel if you blah 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 if your character, and the dude's just like, I don't fucking care, man. It's a fake person. Like, stop giving a shit. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've seen some. There's certainly some people that are tough to interview on those things. I've seen. What's his name? There's a dude that was just Joker. He seems to give them shit all the time.
Who was
Granted,
just the Joker?
He gives everybody shit. He tries to talk to him.
Jared Leto, right?
No. After him, in the
Newer?
the titular Joker, in the movie
Oh,
Joker.
What's his name?
What's his name? Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin. Christopher Walken Phoenix.
Well, yeah, that's what it is. Okay, Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah, he always seems
Watched
to give
his
people
brother die.
a lot of trouble. Oh yeah, that's true.
So whenever I think of Joaquin Phoenix, I'm just like, yep, he watched River Phoenix die right in front of his eyes. That's weird.
It's a tough one. I'd probably yell at some interviewers too if I had to witness that.
100%. I'd probably be done with this. So sorry, I cut you off though. What were you talking about with his interviews? Was there? A
Oh,
specific one,
he's
or?
just difficult. He's like doesn't throw the easy like softballs like all the other people who do. You know.
Yeah.
It just,
Well, I especially imagine he must care even less ever since he did like that movie where he pretended to be a rapper for like a year.
yeah,
and,
it
like,
was weird.
that was a weird phase of his life, and
I think it's just I don't know performance art of some sort.
it was. Well, I mean, he was pretending to be this new version of himself in order to promote this movie, essentially about him like being this like characterized version of himself. But from what I hear, both the movies sucked and like all of the interviews of him being like that were just kind of awkward to
They were
watch.
super
anyways.
awkward. So everybody was like,
so-
"Oh, he's on drugs."
Yeah,
Um,
and he's like asleep half. Like his character, like half the time in those interviews, he'd just be like he's asleep, being woken up, and go like, what?
yeah, there's people in the past who have done that kind of stuff and done it pretty well.
Yeah, like Andy Kaufman, that dude, what's his name?
I don't know if it was real, but Crispin Glover has a pretty famous
That's-
one. People are unsure of whether he was doing a bit or not.
That's the name I was trying to think of. I was just like Crispin, like I couldn't think of the word Crispin, but I was just thinking like something that's like fresh, like icy fresh. What's the word?
Crispin.
Crisp. But yeah, he did like that same sort of like weird fake
Yeah.
interview.
know,
Andy
it's just-
Kaufman.
Yeah. It's kind of his shtick. Yeah, I don't know.
It was his whole thing.
Interesting, but yeah, it's too bad if the movie sucks too. I thought the movie was like a documentary following him as this character that he's playing. I don't really know. I didn't watch it, but it's strange.
I didn't watch. I read an interview, or I read a review from Film Drunk, which is a movie like
Yeah.
Vince Mancini writes that.
Familiar.
I tend to respect his opinion on things, but he was just like, it's like a mockumentary because like it's not really him. Like he's not actually like that. So it's like him playing a character, and they're doing a documentary of this character that he's playing, and that just strikes me as like a weird thread, a weird needle to thread.
It is weird. It's
Um,
pretty weird, but
Yeah, it's
You know,
pretty.
whatever. I suppose, you know, if you're an actor and you're doing well enough and you're whatever, you don't care, you can fuck around once in a while. Try to
Yeah.
keep yourself entertained.
I mean, it's a unique idea, certainly. So I get it.
Right,
like,
if it would have worked, then maybe it would have been worth it. Who knows?
Yeah, every idea's got to be tried. I feel like every idea, if done right, is valid, but that's the hard part, is
Right.
doing it right.
And also for something like that where you have to go all in, it's like at what point do you be like, oh, maybe this is not working? Do you
Yeah.
can't bail at that point.
Exactly. It's like, especially when you've been doing like all those weirdo interviews for like a year.
Right.
It's like,
You have to
I guess
follow
I might as
through
well
at that
finish
point.
the-
You can't,
Yeah,
you can't
exactly.
just bail out and be like, nah.
cause well, the thing is, that's like especially a catch-22 because for him, it's just like either the movie never comes out and he has no proof that he was just playing a character, or like this movie comes out and it sucks and he's just kind of like,
Yeah, he needs to complete this or else people will just think he was on drugs really bad for like a year.
Exactly, yeah. And someone's gonna be like, every once in a while, they're gonna be like, "Did you ever get help for that?" And he's just like, "No, I was."
It was for a movie.
playing a
Oh, what movie?
character.
Well, the movie didn't come out. Oh, okay.
It didn't
shit.
come out.
All right, we're done
Okay,
talking about
did you
this.
get help for that?
I'll just take that long drawn out answer as no, you did not get help.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's cool. I lie too sometimes.
Wow, that actor's just like the rest of us. He lies too.
Yeah. I'm trying to invisibilize. Oh, there's that layer. Okay, so top one. Okay, now we got rid of the sketch layer, and there we go. We have a finished Fall Guys drawing.
Beautiful.
That's so quick. We did that so fast.
Record time. It only took 20 minutes
Yeah,
to finish a
and
drawing
not
that was already done.
a whole hour
That's true.
previous already.
Alright, let me save this sucker.
Right. While you save that, I'm gonna run to the bathroom real quick. So
Alright.
I stood up and then I was hit with a wave of
Well,
that's the thing I need to take
you're
care of.
throwing away valuable time explaining when you could be
Let me
sprinting
talk
towards-
about my bladder and my kidneys and my urine. Anyways, bye.
Let's see. He was about to say Aretha Franklin. He's a big fan of Aretha. And who isn't? Really. I mean, come on. Right? Am I right, guys? Yeah, you guys agree. Anybody in the chat been playing Fall Guys at all? We've been playing quite a bit. But you wouldn't know it by my win streak because I lose just about every time. I actually played on this channel during the week, and we probably will start doing that, playing some games in between the show during the week. So, if that's something that interests any of you, join us. And that's how I got arrested for the 4th time. That's what got me thrown in jail. And
I'm back.
Oh, hey.
Thruh.
Welcome back.
Right. I heard the word jail from the headphones.
Oh, don't worry about that.
Okay.
No, as you were coming back, I was like, and that's how I got thrown in jail for the 3rd time.
That's always.
No, I was just talking about how we were playing some games on the channel during the week, and we might start doing that here and there.
Oh yeah, we should definitely do that.
Especially now that my internet is up to snuff.
Yeah, now that it's actually like able to handle life again.
Right. What are you drawing here?
I'm drawing so you know that picture of like the fall guy who's like on the tube and he's like looking super grim dark.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think gave me an idea for it's like they're doing that contest where it's like design your own fall guy and we'll put it in the game. So it gave me an idea for like a theme, which is kind of like spooky ghost skeleton fall guy.
I wonder if they're gonna affect the faces at all. I imagine they will. They have like a slot for it, but right now it's just colors.
Yeah, right now it's just different colors, but you could put like a skull face on that, no problem.
Or anything like that.
Yeah, anything at all, like a tongue coming out or
an eyeball or something.
Yeah, you could just do. There's a lot you could do with it, and it's cute. I like it. It's a lot of fun.
I've been enjoying it.
I have 2.
How many wins do you have under your belt so far?
It's a bit of a personal question to ask.
I don't appreciate you asking that on live.
What is
internet?
this 3rd degree you're giving me here, man? None.
You're gonna get it. I still.
And you win like every night. Like you would text me and be like, "Oh, I got some today." Ooh.
I've won. How many total? I've won 3.
I think 3 sounds about right because I was there for your first. You texted me a photo of your second. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And you texted me last night when you got like a 3rd one under your belt, I believe.
Yeah. So I've won 3, and I don't think that's that crazy for like I don't know. I have like.
No, it's not a lot of actually.
It's not a lot. I'm not very good.
More than me. It's 300%. Actually, it's actually technically infinity percent more than me because 0. You can't.
What is the percentage of infinity?
What was that?
What is the percentage of infinity?
I think it's like a loop-de-loop.
Oh yeah, I guess
like
I didn't
a
give a
Mobius
specific
strip?
Amount to even get a percentage. I just said what's the percentage, which means nothing. Doesn't matter whether I said infinity or a number.
What's the percentage of 8? I don't know how to answer that question, Brandon.
100.
Sure.
What's the percentage of the number 8? I don't know.
Let's say yes.
100% of 8.
100% of 8? That's 8.
Yeah.
What's your fall guy? Is that like very high BMI fall guy?
I feel like they all are. But
That's true. They all do kind of. Well, I mean, as far as we know, that's a healthy average body mass index. Also, technically, the body mass index is not completely racially
Accurate.
neutral, from what I've heard.
Okay.
I
Also,
can't speak any more into that, but I've heard that.
yeah, it's
Like
not
I keep
100%
that.
on anybody. Honestly, it's just I think it's just like a really like basic guideline. And when I
Yeah.
say basic, I don't mean that as like defending it. It's more of like a. It's not. Don't base
It's like a
everything.
broad
Don't be
idea.
using that. Yeah, don't be using that as your like guide because it's really kind of like not one size fits
Thyroids
all.
like come into place, like genes, genetics really affect all that. It's
Yeah, it's not really super. Also, we don't know. I don't know if you've seen the meme of the thing crawling out of the hole in the face, but like we don't know what they look like inside their suit or what the suits.
Oh,
Are they skin
I
tight?
haven't. That's terrifying. Can you link me to
Yeah,
that?
let me
That
find.
sounds
Let me find it real
hilarious.
quick.
Okay. Should we? I'm gonna draw another. Ooh. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna draw what I think you're gonna show me.
It might be pretty accurate. We'll see. I'm looking for
Just
it.
from what you described. I was on another stream recently playing Fall Guys with some folks, and that dude had like 40 people watching on D Live or whatever. But we were talking about like what's the lore of Fall Guys, Like when are we gonna get some Rule 34 of Fall Guys, Like that's the big question on everyone's mind.
I mean, I feel like porn of characters that are in large like jelly bean skin shaped like skin type that probably exists at some other level regardless of whether it was
I think it
Fall
probably
Guys.
existed before Fall Guys. Like
That's
Fall
what I'm
Guys,
saying.
we'll find out was inspired. It's like how people say like Phenomena was based on like the Muppets bit was based on some kind of like porno video.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Like, yeah, there's like a song
Or
where
at
it's
least
like
I hadn't heard that.
there's like this weird French erotic video of some kind, and like the song that plays is basically the Phenomena thing, but like weirder.
Okay.
And then people say like, but I also don't think it's like a particularly. I don't know what to think about that one when I saw it. I'm like, it could easily be a hoax or whatever. But,
Fair enough. All right, I'm gonna paste it in here real quick.
all I'm saying is Fall Guys is based on porn. You heard it here first, folks. That's. Oh dear. Oh God. Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty close to.
Here, I'll get that out of the way now. Yeah.
I didn't finish drawing his arms, but I was gonna give him 2 sets of arms.
That's what I need is some Fall Guy lore.
I do, yeah. I
We
want
need
some
to
Fall
start
Guy.
reading some backstory on these characters.
What SCP number is Fall Guys? That's what I gotta find out.
I'm fully expecting some kind of like Hunger Games situation.
Yeah.
These disenfranchised Fall Guys are being forced to compete.
I don't think we're ever gonna get any lore from the official Fall Guys.
I don't think
they're
so
gonna.
either. Although
I think we're gonna.
they're pretty open to like all the community stuff. Like, it took me a while to find this picture because the Twitter puts out like 30 posts a day.
It's popping off, man. Like when I saw it first, like arrive on the Steam page, I was kind of like, okay, this is cool. This is nice. Looks fun. Looks interesting. But I didn't really expect it to get quite the momentum it's gotten, like since it's come out. But
I guess this should be a message to developers that simplicity is good sometimes.
sometimes it's good. I mean,
Simplicity,
I think-
like if you have solid game design, doesn't matter. Doesn't have to be super complicated beyond that.
but it's so hard to come up with something that's simple and new nowadays.
Yeah, that hasn't
That's
been
the hard
done
part.
exactly.
Like if I like toast some bread and put something on it, I can be like, I made this new thing, but someone will still say like, that's you made
So-
peanut butter
Like,
toast.
no, shit toast has existed for a long time.
Yeah.
I-
So it's like it's hard to find that new thing that's like simple
Right.
and condensable into one thing, but at the same time. But also, I think another big draw of Fall Guys is like it's so pretty, and like I'm not even playing it on good graphic settings. I'm playing it on the worst possible graphic settings.
Yes,
But like it looks good, the sound is good, it's cute.
Yeah, it's fun.
The bean dudes make like cute noises.
And the developers, at least so far, have not made it like a pay to play type like thing.
Yeah. Like you can, I mean, of course you can pay for like costumes
Cosmetics.
or whatever, or like the coins to get costumes or whatever, but you can earn them fast enough. So like I don't I don't mind monetization and things if it's like some stupid bullshit that's like completely 100% optional. Like, then fine, yeah, you didn't care, you spent the extra money, like, get the thing. I don't care, but like I don't need to spend extra money to, you know.
Agreed, but also I think like I would be a little annoyed if they made it so you could buy crowns.
That I would be super annoyed. And
Because that would
so
take
far
away,
they haven't made
they
it.
haven't done it, yeah.
Which is good.
Because it needs to be some level of like, hey, you're rewarded for winning.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, what are we even doing here?
What is this all about? Are we all just I was about to get super philosophical as an Italian Brooklyn accent
Some
guy.
kind of simulation. People are just.
What is this? Are we all just walking
Well,
chemical reactions here, just trying to make our way through this random happenstance world that we live on in between a bunch of neutron stars?
We're just, being controlled, as we run through the rat race, getting hit by hammers and rolling balls.
Yeah. What is this all? A computer simulation of Takeshi's castle? And we're just a bunch of colorful jelly beans?
Seems like a
Get out
life.
of here. It's very parallel to real life.
I am but a fall guy.
I am.
The
the world is a vampire.
Yeah, Fall Guys lore would be fun. But
yeah.
I've seen them comment a few times that they're like being very careful to like keep the brand like positive, all positive, like.
Oh yeah, because I mean, if they like right now they're squeaky clean. If they keep it like that, they can like get all sorts of brand partnerships and shit like that because like it's so inoffensive.
That's a good point.
Like at the moment they like introduce any sort of edge, then they cut somebody off. So like, they keep their brand clear of edges, like they're good.
I would end up killing my chances of selling out by accident so fast.
Oh my god, me too. I would be like, I'd have a good image for like 2 minutes, and then I'd like type on my Twitter like, who farted, and then they'd be like, we can't. You gotta stop.
Abide with a company that talks about farting.
Yeah, like, who farted? You farted, and you shat the bed, Ian. Goodbye.
This partnership with KFC is now over.
And I was like, that's alright, I like Popeyes better anyways, you pricks.
And Popeyes is like, we're out too.
We don't want you either, man. Like, I don't know where you got that idea, but no.
We never had a partnership to begin with.
Yeah. But thanks for the endorsement.
I'm excited to see where it goes, because it's like, it's a good start for a game.
I definitely hope the next update puts a couple more games in.
Yeah. I mean, so far the only update they've had put one mode in, but...
This is true, they did put a new game in already.
But it'd be cool if they had some, like... Short of, like, patches and stuff, it'd be cool if they had, like, events.
Like limited time only events?
Yeah, and I'm sure they will. I just feel like...
That would be nifty. I
just feel like it's been, it's, like, the obvious move, because, like, Overwatch, TF2, like, all these games that have a big community, they all do that, or have done that, and it just seems like an obvious move.
Yeah.
At the very least, even if the events are like costume based, I would prefer like game mode ones, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, but I hope there's updates that they do where like they introduce new things and like that's just in the game now, because as a person who's played a lot of The Sims, it's really frustrating when you get an update and it's just like you can only use this update in like very specific settings, and then otherwise it's just like something you won't really encounter anymore. So like I would like, there's a lot of potential in the game, and I hope they have an opportunity to expand upon like just like the base of what's available.
I think they will. If it continues being as popular as it is, like look at like Fortnite, like how wacky it's gotten. Like they're going to just start like the more popular they are, the more money they have, the more resources, the more they'll try to keep coming up with new stuff to keep that momentum.
Yeah, and that's cool. I'm excited because I'm also very excited for them because they popped off so much. Like,
Yeah.
it's even more incentive for them to keep up the momentum. So cool. Like if I had bought the game, I'd be like, this is great. I hope, like, whenever I play Sea of Thieves, like, I know that it's rare and it's like supported by Microsoft, so like they still have like a lot of content that they're going to be bringing out, but like it's also, I don't hear a lot of people talking about that game, or like when they talk about it they're very disappointed. So sometimes I'm just like, when does the bottom fall out and they just like stop putting new shit.
Right, exactly. So that's the thing. It's exciting when a game you like is being well received because you know you're gonna get more.
Exactly.
That's why I often like products I like. I try to like spend my money on them.
Yeah, try and support them and get them to, like, you can't be like, oh, I wish this got more, and then not do anything to help with that.
Right.
That's kind of.
It's like, well, if everybody feels like you do and does nothing, then that doesn't help. But yeah, I don't know. I'm
Useless.
excited to see where it goes. It's fun.
Yeah.
And
that's our Fall Guys conversation. What were you saying?
Very solid start though, for like a.
It is a very solid start, and it's a fun game. And like once they get the servers all fixed, I hope we can get our usernames back in the game. Like, I understand why they took that out.
It's got to be a temporary thing.
Yeah. Although I can also understand if maybe they might be interested in not letting people put their usernames back on, because that's also again a family-friendly thing.
At the very least, let you type in your username in the game, and
is true.
Have a limit on certain words, so you can't use stuff like that.
Yeah, like I could understand if they wanted to keep like, oh, I'm sorry, you can't use the username "my dick stinks" or something like that. Like,
I don't see the problem with that.
Yeah, that's
the person just owning, body positivity.
That's right, body positivity. That's what we're here for. Your Fall Guy's shiny.
Yes. He was oiled up.
Oh dear.
They all move around like they're oiled up.
They fucking tip over so often, and I scream at the game every time they do.
Get up!
Yeah, get the fuck up.
And then I get
That's a personal story for you.
Yeah.
He woke his girlfriend.
Captain Cheapy says, they may also have done that so people don't target people during a round if they knew who they are.
That's actually a very good point.
I feel like streamers and things like that.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean,
could be, because that is supposedly a real problem with like big streamers. There's people that will just like
fuck with them.
It would be hard in a game like this to get in around with them, but in certain games where there's servers, there are people that will just like enter and exit servers until they find the one that they are on, and then they'll hunt them down.
That is true, and I do remember seeing like the fair number of users who were like ..twitch.tv or whatever, and I could easily see somebody like trying to grief that person just because like, and then their username.
Maybe they should make it so you can come up with your own names, because then if that person wants to out themselves, then that's their they can do that, but they also aren't required to.
Yeah, like you can keep Fall Guy, 66666. Or you can be poop $37 or whatever.
$2. The professor says something is off about these fall dudes. What? No.
What are you talking about, man? Get out of here.
Oh, also,
what is
I forgot to sorry, I didn't cut you off. I forgot to mention we had a new follower over the week that we were off.
Woo!
Mercury Tempest.
Probably
not watching right now, but thanks for following.
Thanks for the follow.
Poop Dog.
Poop Dog. Do you know where I got Poop Dollar? Where I got that name from?
I have a feeling I do, but I would like to hear your explanation.
I mean, I said it off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure I got it from Workaholics.
Yeah, okay, so I had heard about it pre-Workaholics, So
Really?
apparently they didn't come up with it, but it seems like something that should only exist in the Workaholics.
That is a hell of a prank. I mean, that's the thing I love about certain pranks is like the ingenuity of some of these things. Like sometimes somebody just comes up with something, and it's just to like fuck with somebody and like ruin somebody else's day and like have
Yeah.
fun and like sure whatever. Like there's a lot of morality with all that and stuff. But like some of these are just so clever. I'm just like, I mean, when you come up with that idea, you have to do it. Like I can't.
I was told
Like,
about the poo dollar, as it was called when I was taught about it. I learned it from a coworker. She said she did it once with somebody or something like that, and I was just like listening in disbelief. But then it happened in Workaholics, and that made me realize that this is something that's real.
That's so funny. So I mean, I feel like we should explain it because I mean, not everyone has a Hulu account.
It is one of those. We should explain it, but it is also one of those pranks that pretty much the whole explanation is in its title, but still, it could use a little.
Yeah. Like you get $1, you put.
That's step one.
You wrap.
To anybody who wants to play this prank at home on their parents.
Yeah, do it to your parents only. Don't try this at home. But yeah, I think in the show what they do is they take dog poop, or I hope not human poop, and then they wrap $1 in it, and then they like make it so like it looks like the wind's gonna blow it, and then they step on the $1 to try and keep the wind from blowing it, and then they got a whole bunch of poo on their shoes.
Oh, I thought you just pick it up and then there's like you got.
Well, I mean, either works. I mean, in Workaholics, the guy steps on it, and so I assume that that's the desired reaction. But if they just pick it up, then that's honestly worse.
I know. That's the one I had heard, is that this girl was telling me, this is like back when I was like, like 17 or 16, and she's just like, yeah, we did a poo dollar. It's where you put dog shit on $1 and then you like drop it on the ground at the mall and somebody like picks it up. Like, it's evil, but also kind of funny.
It is very.
Everyone's
evil.
gonna be okay at the end of that one.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing is like the thing about pranks, where nobody gets hurt and like no property is destroyed, is like those are harmless and those are fun. It's just like and then Greg lost an eye. Then just okay. I think this prank was
the prank went
so
as
jovial
planned,
anymore.
and he lost an eye.
Yeah.
It's the lose an eye prank.
Yeah, it's where you knock somebody's eye out, and
Hilarious every time.
Every time, it cracks me up.
What's I gonna say about the? Oh yeah, I would draw an example of what the poo dollar is, but Twitch would ban us.
Twitch would ban us. I was thinking about that. Is we can't draw the poop dollar because.
I'm not sure how much I believe
informed.
it. I don't know if I believe it, but I'm also not gonna challenge it.
I feel like
Jeff
we are
Bezos
safer.
Hates poop.
Because nobody ever notices we exist.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
if we had like
We can do
100
anything.
followers, then it'd be an issue.
The professor says Twitch bans for cartoon poo. Well, we were surprised as well. Turns out we were told by one of our viewers that you cannot draw a picture of someone defecating. It was like
imagine
early.
like we had drawn a vignette of a bunch of butts pooping on our drawing. We did that, and then somebody just came. I think it was Dust Kitty. They were just like, just to let you know.
Just
they will ban you.
You wouldn't be the first. And this was like, as you might imagine, early in the history of the stream, because I mean, if it weren't for us getting that piece of information, we'd probably be drawing people shitting every episode.
Literally every episode we've had a chance where we're just like, we could draw that right now, but we actually talk about it every time. Like one of us.
I feel like I have to keep bringing it up because it's absurd. If it is
it's
true.
absurd, and we bring it up, and I like let's be honest with ourselves here. We bring it up every time we want to draw somebody defecating.
Yes, this is how I get it out of my system. Instead of drawing it and getting banned, I just talk about it.
I forgot we would get banned if we had done it. Right? All those missed opportunities to draw somebody just shitting all over this. I think I've talked about this before, but have you ever seen that website where it's just like, I mean, this was a website that existed before social media, so like
one of those
we're talking about like not even one of those shock sites, because like it was animations and like I've talked about this before on the show, I'm pretty sure, but like it was basically like a bunch of animations, and the joke was always then you would see like a really well animated like a butt that would look like this, and then like it was just a very deep, like very well done, like 60 frames per second animation of like poop coming out of that butt.
Was
Like
that
and like
website called Newgrounds?
I mean, I found out about this website through Newgrounds, I'm pretty sure, but this dude had his own website where it was just like poopbutt.com or something like that, and like every animation was like a naked dude, but he would be like, hold on, this sounds so weird as I describe it. I promise
Yep.
this is a site that existed. He was like some dude who would look like this.
He just had enough demand that he needed his own website for it.
Yeah, and he was always just like walking and then like dropping poops out of his butt. And like the animation was always like 60 frames per second of the poop coming out of like this cartoon dude's butt.
Wow.
And you know, like that existed at some point on the internet. Along with like those were like in the days of like Kill Frog and Joe Cartoon and Bunny Grenade.
The professor says I somehow know exactly what you're talking about.
That's amazing.
So they know about poopbutt.com or whatever it's called. That, you know, how much time do you think went into coming up with that title? How many iterations? Yeah. Seems like none.
At least 4 days of heavy debate. Like,
many different options.
Yeah, I imagine like a Glengarry Glen Ross type like boardroom, and there's like a whiteboard with a bunch of like pasted on sticky notes of like different website names, and it's like a montage of a dude like he's got like the button up shirt with the white sleeves that are like pulled up at the elbows, and he's just like hitting it with a pointer, and the other people in the room are just like, I don't know, man, and he like gets frustrated. You know, I just imagine a whole intensive brainstorm session that lasted 4 long days.
The professor says there was one where he rocketed off screen propelled by diarrhea.
Yep, that is 100% the same website we were talking about.
And then Captain Sheepy says, you ever wonder what happened to those old Flash animators like Kill Frog and Joe Cartoon? I do wonder.
I've wondered that myself, and the professor just said that I dug up a buried memory, and I imagine a lot of people don't remember Joe Cartoon, Kill Frog. I mean, the only one I can think of is like other one is Bunny Grenade. There was a whole bunch though, like the guy who did the Shock and Awe cartoons. I mean, shit, Arj Barker was doing like animations at this point in time. Like, there was like this whole, like before social media had consolidated everyone's like. Put it like sometimes it was kind of like the same kind of website as like Homestar Runner, where you just had like a website and it would update like once a month or like every other Thursday with like a new animation, and like people did that for a while, and I don't know how they made money or if there was money to be made in it, but like what did ever happen with Joe Cartoon and Kill Frog? I mean, I imagine Happy Tree Friends did basically start out as one of those, like it was like Media Molecule, I want to say, and then they had Happy Tree Friends as well as a couple other cartoons. Like there was like a cartoon about like a talking burrito or something like that that Media Molecule had. You know, there was just like so many like weird Stick Death. I do remember that as well. Captain Sheepy mentions Stick Death from Web 1.0 days, where it was like ultra violent, like shock cartoons.
Right.
There were pro George Bush messages in those. I do remember that. Wow, that is actually something I totally forgot about. But they did have that weird stuff. Yeah, like you'd get like weird, like even like in Newgrounds cartoons, like they would like be like, hey, here's a bunch of exploding people, and by the way, we need to talk about U.S. imperialism in Iraq. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, I am 12. I don't understand what you're saying.
I'm gonna go watch Homestar Runner instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I don't know where these people are.
I'm gonna look up Kill Frog, because I feel like they have a YouTube channel. The website exists still. Is the website anything? No. What? Killfrog.com. Sorry, all sites are down for a bit. No cache. Copyright 2017. So I don't think that site's coming back. But wow, this is
Joe
a hell of a
Cartoon is
picture.
still up. His last
Oh,
post was
shit.
2016.
Interesting. I'm gonna look up Bunny Grenade because that's like a lesser known one. Like when people talk about it, I don't think people remember Bunny Grenade. But yeah, okay, so, oh yeah, they definitely had some animations right off the bat that did not hold up over time, or probably were not good in the first place.
Well,
But I remember they had one called.
Is.
What was that?
It also depends who the audience is.
Yeah, but you know, there's some things where you're just like, this is not, this is hateful content.
Oh
at some
yeah.
point.
No, I got you. Yeah, I agree with that. But
They don't like all these people's Newgrounds profiles still exist, but like some of these websites just don't exist anymore. But I remember like, interesting, like half their movies don't even exist anymore, probably because of like. The one I remember from Bunny Grenade was like this dude and his dog driving in a car, and they were singing "The Night Chicago Died," and then like when it goes na 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 na, like they do the na na na, and that's like the whole cartoon of like a minute of you like watching a loop of dudes driving and listening to a copywritten song. So
yeah, certain things just don't.
You know, not put on the internet anymore.
Right.
Kind of miss those days though, right? Like where you could just like upload a music video of a song you don't own the rights to.
Assuming you're not profiting off of it, I don't see any real harm personally. Maybe somebody could argue, maybe an artist could argue why I'm wrong.
Yeah, like I used to have not a good animation, but it was an animation like a music video of "Hate to Say I Told You So" by the Hives, and that's not on Newgrounds anymore because.
Because you didn't get it approved by the Hives record label.
No, they never sent.
They
never
responded to your email.
Yeah.
Well, that's a shame. That's what that is.
That is a shame. Yeah, let's get rid of these Fall Guys here. Oh boy. What do we draw now?
That's always the question, isn't it?
It is. That's what I think about every time I open up my art program in the morning, and I'm like, I need to get some work done, and I'm just like, what the fuck do I draw, man? I don't know. I see so many people who are just like, I did these 50 sketches today, and they're all like these weird abstract ideas that are like not anything incredible, but still there's something, and I'm just like, I wouldn't even think to draw that. Like, I don't know. Had a hard time just doing like random sketches of nothing lately.
Yeah, I used to be a lot better at just pumping random stuff out, but I've been like, I don't know, a bit busier lately, so I just don't have as much.
Yeah, that's fair.
I guess like anytime I sit down to draw, I'm like, well, I should work on commissions rather than stuff for fun.
Yeah, or like portfolio pieces or something.
Yeah,
I don't know. I have a hard time with that stuff.
Finding a good source of inspiration is helpful in that, I found.
Yeah,
I
think that's true.
If I ever have like a artist block, I can do my things that help me, and then I'll feel like inspired and raring to go, make some stuff.
Have you ever heard of like people's like ways that like weird ways that they get like inspiration and things like that?
Yeah, I feel like everybody has kind of their own unique like system.
What are some of the weird ways that you, because like for instance, like when I was in art school, we had this dude come in and he did like editorial illustrations for newspapers a lot of the time.
Okay.
And he said that the number one way he would get inspired for his like drawings is he would have like a prompt, and then he had like an above ground pool, and he would just go out and like get on like a pool noodle and like some goggles and just float and like upside like his head down in the water with like the scuba thing, and he would just like float in the pool like for an hour or two just thinking, and like that was his way of getting inspiration.
What that tells me is that he needs like sensory deprivation type thing.
Yeah, I think so. But
And
like
that,
also it's like there's a comfort to relaxing and like watching like the light do that weird wavy trickly shit that
yeah.
like you always see in SpongeBob. Like there's like kind of it's almost like watching neurons firing is watching that light hit the water and do that like on whatever it's like casting that reflected light onto.
I wish my
It's like a
way
combination of
sounded as artistic, or like as like, you know, musy, like.
yeah.
But my thing is, I watch. My stuff's always inspired by pop culture. So if I'm really feeling like stumped, like some of my favorite movies or TV cartoons can help me. And then ultimately, the thing that helps the most is I subscribe to artists I like on certain social media platforms, and then I just go through the feed and just scroll through, and that inspires me too. But it's not as interesting as an answer.
Yeah, I mean that. Well, also that dude is like he's almost got inspiration already because it's like he's doing an editorial, so it's like based on an article that he's
Right.
read,
Yeah.
So like, I mean that's obviously that's a very different sort of part of the brain that you're using.
That helps. I feel like I would enjoy doing that kind of stuff. I like having a starting point.
Yeah, and like it's cool because editorials you can kind of like take this completely conceived idea and then like look at somebody's interpretation of it in like a reading format, and then you can almost abstract it even further into this visual metaphor that this person's already sort of getting at in the editorial. It's actually I've been interested in like trying to practice some like editorial style drawings, like just to see like how I like just to try my hand at it really.
Yeah, I've considered it in the past too. It seems. I feel like me and you are somewhat clever when given a prompt.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would be kind of fun coming up with your own spin on something that's already
sort of like
a direction.
A concept that's already been sort of crystallized, but there's no good visual metaphor for it, and then you bring that to the table. I think there's value in that. I found that I do a lot of my best thinking if I'm like going on a jog or if I'm going for like a bike ride. I do a lot of good thinking doing that.
Okay, that's cool.
But I don't have a good pair of jogging shoes anymore, so that sucks. And I liked riding around the city, but I don't have a city to like. I have like places I can ride around here, but it's just not quite the same.
Right. Yeah. It's tough when you find your ways and then you kind of lose those options.
Yeah. My dude loves me taking a good jog. Like it's a nice feeling.
I wouldn't say I feel nice when I jog. I don't hate it, but I wouldn't say I'm like, yeah, I feel great. I'm usually like, I'm gonna die.
I'm like that for like the first week, but like if I keep up with it, like it doesn't take long for me to like I've gotten that runner's high before, and let me tell you, man, that runner's high is fine.
I think it's a myth made up by people who exercise, and
it's made up by the jogging lobby.
And then you guys just gatekeep and talk about how great this thing is that no one else is able to experience.
I don't do drugs, so I don't get high. So that's a lie. I do a lot of drugs, but
I don't do drugs. I just smoke weed. That was from Half Baked.
That's a great movie, great quote. Which character is that? Is that Dave Chappelle's character, or is that?
Yeah.
Hey man, have you ever watched Half Baked on weed?
It seems obvious. I'm not sure I have. Yeah, I was just gonna say.
I haven't.
Seems like an obvious move, but no.
I don't think I've watched Half Baked since the year 2005. I think that was the cutoff for that movie existing at all.
The professor says Big Jog fabricated the runner's high to sell shoes. I 100% agree. I'm glad that they're finally, being outed.
Speaking truth to power here. We're taking on the jogger lobby.
The professor, be careful saying that stuff out loud, though. If you hear a pitter-patter coming at you real fast, it's time to get out of there.
That's right.
They're coming after you.
Do you see a dude holding 2 fingers to his neck and looking at a watch? Get the fuck out of there, man. You gotta run. And that's not even a joke about the jogger lobby, but you gotta go. Big Jog is coming for you.
Big Jog. I like that. Just
Big Jog in Little China.
It's what we're thinking. Like we all have the same idea, but I like the idea of instead that it's just like a large dude who runs really fast. He's Big Jog.
I just think like he's okay, so you call him Big Jog, but they actually call him El Gigante. He's a dude from Resident Evil 4, and you're calling him wrong. You need to use his correct name. It's not Big Jog, he's El Gigante. Okay. I think that's what it is. I don't know which G's you're supposed to pronounce as the G and which are the H in Spanish, because I sometimes it's one or the other, and I don't know.
It's a hard one to know.
It's a hard one.
Exactly what you're supposed to do, how to say it. And you don't want to offend Big Jog. It's the last thing you want.
You don't want to El Gigante.
Oh
You don't
God.
want to offend.
I'm dead. So dead.
What you don't want to offend him, but what you do want to do is you want to free the wolf from the bear trap back in chapter 1, because then when you're fighting El Gigante, otherwise known as Big Jog, the wolf will come from the background and actually bite him, and then give you an opportunity to escape one of his more powerful attacks. So
that's a pro tip, right
pro
there,
gamer tips. That's right. Pro tips, bro.
The professor says they're glad you went the Resident Evil route because they were about to.
Excellent. But see, that's why people like to listen to us say absolutely nothing, is because we'll go down the thought process that you were hoping we would.
They like to watch because we're going to say the stuff that you would think of yourself if we weren't here.
Yeah, exactly. You
So,
think it, we say it.
It's like, I wouldn't even have to watch the show and I could have the exact same experience.
Stop.
Oh, shit.
Shut the fuck up, man. Shut the fuck
I mean,
up.
what?
What's your dog doing? Is that dog like a cool dog of any kind, or what's he doing?
He's super cool.
He's a super cool dog?
Yeah. Can't you tell?
Yeah, I'm just wondering what about him is... Like, I can totally tell he's super cool, but like, what?
I mean, most super cool dogs don't do anything.
That's true. That's
Super
actually
cool.
the coolest part about dogs is when they leave you alone and you can like walk up and be like, "What's up, buddy?" and like you pet them, but they don't like get all up in your shit about your food or whatever. Are you a dog person or a cat person?
So for the longest time, I'd always say dog person more primarily, but right now I think it's changed to a cat person. Not necessarily that I like cats better in general, but I could not take care of a dog properly right now. They need more than I could offer. So I think, I know it's a long answer just to say which one I like more. I like cats for my current living situation more, but one day I would like to have a dog.
Okay, interesting. I mean, I've known that about you. I mean, we've talked about this before. But it was nice to get that on record.
Yeah.
But I definitely consider myself a cat person. I mean, my parents have had cats and dogs pretty much most of my life, and I've just enjoyed the cats more. I mean, I like the dogs, don't get me wrong, but it's also a dog is kind of like... dogs are extra, you know what I mean? Like a dog, like we have a dog, Juno, and like every morning I get up and he stretches himself on me, and I love that, don't get me wrong. But also sometimes I won't be looking at him, and I'll be like drinking a cup of coffee, and then he'll jump up and stretch on me, and I did not realize that he was gonna do that just then and there, and then I'll spill the coffee all over myself and him, and that's not just, I don't like that. I don't like doing that. Tell you what, I mean, that sort of situation actually will happen with some cats, depending on if they will.
Some cats are pretty needy.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, it's happened more than once with that dog, and with the cat, it won't.
So, it's funny, I found I'm more of a dog person, like, the times in my life where I'm not the one taking care of it. So, like, I see the comedy in that, but what I'm saying is, like, that's the reason right now.
I mean, I get it.
They're a lot more work. It's, it's like when I cook a kid or something. And I think at one point I will want to do that, but right now it's just like, like being able
Okay.
to leave all day and know that the animal's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that cat will
It's like a
fucking take care of
roommate.
himself.
Yeah. You might even like
Yeah.
the peace and quiet a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And like the thing is, like, a lot of people say like, oh, cats are less affectionate than dogs, and like I get it, but it's not entirely true.
I think
I
it's
read like
case by
some
case
study.
basis too.
Yeah, like I read some study where it said that like cats, like, cause like when you consider dogs, like what is a dog?
What do you mean?
Like what are current day dogs?
Like, what's the wild animal equivalent?
Yeah.
A wolf.
Yeah, so like a wolf that we domesticated
Oh,
and
so
like
that was one of those
bred.
questions that you already knew the answer to.
It is
You're
actually,
leading
yeah.
me down a path.
I'm leading you down a argument wormhole
Okay.
here.
Anyways, sorry. Go
So
on.
yeah, a dog is like an animal that we domesticated specifically for a lot of purposes, like back in the days when it made sense to do so, because like they were good for hunting and things like that. And like cats, I guess you could say are like an animal that we did also domesticate, but cats are kind of already like the way they are, you know? Like
we didn't really try
you
to
look
change
at like
them to like help us work.
yeah, like we literally bended the genetics of dogs to make them more docile and like fit in our house and like be smaller than us so they couldn't kill us as easily at least. And like cats have just kind of like, if you go back to ancient Egypt, like cats kind of still look like the way they look.
Right.
So like, a dog is like honestly a creature that we made as like humans.
We are
so
gods. Yes.
yeah, so it kind of like makes sense that like a dog would almost be more in line with like how we would perceive affection from a creature and things like that. And like
True.
like when for instance, when you like hang out with Theo and things like that, like that cat loves you. Like that is a loving cat right there.
Yeah.
So like, but some people might not consider it quite the same because like Theo's not like running up on you and licking your face all the time and shit like that, and it's
Right.
just because like it's different. I don't know.
Yeah, it's different. Then also, I found something. I always thought I wasn't like a big fan of cats, and then I later learned that I just don't really care that much about other people's cats. When you have your own, and then it starts to like, you earn you earn that relationship. Then it's you kind of get it, or at least I did. I was like, oh, okay, I see the allure here now.
Yeah, because like 100% of the time, like another person's cat will not be nearly as nice to you as they are to their owner.
Yeah.
Unless you're around a lot, and it depends on the cat too. Like for instance,
some cats love everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, like my friend Pat, he has a cat named Miss Kitty, and she's called Miss Kitty because she looks like a kitten, but she's like 15 years old. But she'll let you just pick her up and like hug her and you can do like whatever you want with that cat, and she's like okay with it for at least like the first 5 minutes. That cat's fucking awesome, man. Like anyone can get along with that cat, but
We got some comments in the chat. The professor says, "So you don't like dogs because you're afraid to spill coffee on them." Got it.
Yes, that's 100% the truth.
That's the reason. Just drink less coffee, then your relationship with dogs will be a lot stronger.
Look, I'll give up dogs before I give up coffee, okay?
Captain Sheepy says, my cat doesn't like it when I have my door closed, so he'll sit outside and just go meow until I let him in, and he'll nestle on my blankets and stare at me. Yeah, that sounds like a pretty classic cat behavior.
That sounds like a cat, yeah.
I feel like
cat loves you.
We're pretty, so we have a ton of house plants at our house, as you know, Ian, and the cat likes to mess with them only when we're not paying attention to him. So it's not a threat to like leave him downstairs with all the plants, but if we're sleeping, he'll come into the room and mess with them in the room we're sleeping because it helps wake us up and chase after him. And then he has fun being chased after.
That's adorable.
So we lock him out of our room at night, which is fine. He doesn't mind. He's used to it. It's all he's ever known. But fortunately, we're upstairs, and there's a stairwell between our room and downstairs, so he can't be annoying and wake us up from the other side of the door, which is a problem a lot of our friends with cats have. So, like the cat sits outside and screams when we try to lock him out of the bedroom.
He screams like he goes like. Ah!
Theo doesn't, but a lot of people's cats do that, like when they get like locked out.
They
of the
do.
room.
Oh my god! When Zach's cat Waffle starts meowing, like she will not shut the fuck up, man.
Yeah.
And also my old cat Sprinkles that my parents take care of now.
Morgan, her old roommate, when we first started dating, has this. She's still alive, but this old cat. It's like let's just see. She's like 17. Just had her. We had her quinceanera for a couple years ago, but she just would scream outside the door, and I'd like bunch up clothes and stuff to try to like, block the sound.
That's hilarious.
But it can be annoying sometimes. Also, Theo, if we let him in the room with us while we're sleeping, this might not be a surprise to you, but he can't tell time. So as soon as he starts to get hungry, he gets fed, in the morning. As soon as he starts to get hungry and thinks he's like waited long enough, he starts. If he's in the room with you while you're sleeping, he'll wake you up to get fed. Like he'll slap you in the face and like.
Nah, that's cute.
Stand on your stuff. I disagree when I'm trying to sleep. But so that's another reason we lock him out. But he's okay with it. He's fine being downstairs.
Yeah, he's a good cat. He seems.
He like when it gets before we even go to bed, he's usually in the spot he sleeps, like laying there. So he's fine with it.
Yeah.
Captain Sheepy says, I was reading earlier today that there's been an ongoing Russian experiment since 1959 on domesticating red foxes, and they managed to breed a new domesticated breed of fox with black silver fur. That cool.
Sounds awesome.
And on that note, I don't know if this has any connection to that, but there is some place, I want to say Russia, but I might be wrong. There's some place a little bit like east of us, some country where domesticated foxes to some degree, like they're still wild animals, but they're at least domesticated more than wild foxes as we know, and you can buy them from these breeders, and they've been doing it for generations, and like it's like the closest thing to a domesticated fox as you can get, like as a, on the market, so to speak.
Wow.
But I always wonder, I wonder what other animals we could have domesticated if we would have planned like 1,000 years ago.
I've seen a lot of videos of foxes. They're super cute.
No, I'm talking about Captain Sheepy now. Not fennec foxes. They're like red. They look like red foxes, but they've been I have to imagine they're still wild animals to a lot of their personality, but at least I have to imagine a fox that even if you just domesticated them for like 10 generations, I would imagine there'd be at least a slight change in their personality and demeanor. I have to imagine so, yeah. So anyways, is these groups have been doing it over there, and it's like, I don't know, I think you can buy them as a pet, but
I have to imagine. I have seen like a decent number of videos on YouTube of people like with domesticated
pet foxes, yeah.
And they look like just basically like exactly
they're
between
a
dog and a cat. Yeah, they're a cat dog.
Yeah, and I think
pretty cute.
Like from their demeanor, that's kind of what they are too.
Yeah. Have you ever seen pictures of sables?
No.
They're so cute. Like they basically look like little tiny ferrets. But like I saw a video, I'm pretty sure it was earlier today. I saw a sable on Twitter, and like goddamn, like that thing
I'm gonna
is
look one up real quick.
Fucking cute, man. Like,
sable. Ugh. Oh, okay. So yeah, they do look like a ferret.
Yeah, they make brushes out of them, which is kind of cool because you have to like collect fur off, and that's obviously you can't do that by any non-cruel means. But like I saw a video of a sable acting like all cute and domesticated earlier today, and I would find it, but Twitter is down.
My sister-in-law, her mom lives out in the country near like a busy road, and many times she's found raccoon cubs that their mom has been like hit by a car or something, and so she's more than once like raised raccoons, and they eventually let them go because like any wild animal, once they get like old, they start to get mean and stuff. But she has like just pet raccoons that hang out and they're relatively nice for quite a while until they get big.
Yeah, but like even you're not a fan of raccoons either.
I don't hate raccoons. I've just had some run-ins. That's all.
You've had some past turf wars.
That's right. I'm gonna use the bathroom real quick, and I'll be back.
All right, sounds good. And then we got a couple more comments. We'll read those when you get back. I'm gonna draw a raccoon in the meantime. Brandon said he had a previous run-in with raccoons. I would just tell his story for him because that's the best way to tell a story. He back when he was first getting his roots set and where he is currently living now, um, he got a house with some folks, and then they had like raccoons that were just living in the house, but like like in all the outer spaces of the house, like all the crevices and things like that. So he sent me a picture the one time he took of like all these raccoons on his front porch, and it was like an army of like glowing eyes from like the camera flash just like staring at him, and it was a little intimidating. So I mean, it was. I've seen like some pictures earlier today of raccoons like hanging out in a swing set, and they're super cute, and I wanted to cuddle them. But like when you see the raccoons that Brandon took a photo of, it's terrifying. It's like a bunch of like demons staring out at you from like the darkness, and you can't even like make out how many there are because there's so many, and they're all in his trash and in his like rain gutter and things like that. So, they're cute. They're super duper cute. But when you have like a whole, it's kind of like the rule of zombies, where if you have a slow moving zombie, one is fine, but if you have like 30, that's a problem all of a sudden. Similar with the raccoons, I think. Here's my drawing of a raccoon. This actually looks like one of those Pokemon, that Zigzagoon Pokemon, now that I'm drawing it. It's a Zigzagoon. Which is, I believe it's actually based on a raccoon, because it's a zigzag coon. Or Zigzagoon. Zigzag raccoon. In Philadelphia, you get the occasional raccoon, but you mostly get possums. And possums are cute too. I've never had an issue with a possum. I've just seen them, and I mean they're gross. They don't look great.
It's a good raccoon drawing. I like it.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't know if you've been keeping up with the chat.
I have, but I wanted to go over the chat with you while you were in the room.
Right. So, a friend of mine's sister has a fox as a pet, and it just hides, and if it sees anyone that isn't her, it screams, poops, and runs away. that sounds fox. That's what I'd imagine, I suppose.
That sounds, yeah, that's fair.
Seems like probably more domesticated than your average fox.
Yeah. Captain Sheepy says that you have to do it when they're like pups before, or else you just can't domesticate that fox, which makes sense. You start them off young. Yeah. And the professor says that sounds terrifying. I was telling him the story about like the photo you sent me of all the raccoons. Like,
oh yeah, my roommates.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun time.
That was a good time.
Yeah, but now I live in a house that doesn't have raccoons, so that's good.
That's true. You have in general, your living situation is improved for multiple reasons.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's good. I like where I live now. It's nice.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's a pretty sweet place.
It's a nice setup.
It's a good hovel. That's not a hovel. It's actually a very nice house. Hovel makes it sound like it's bad.
I take no offense by hovel. All right, I'm gonna save this unless you wanna.
Oh, I just
leave that raccoon in there.
Yeah, I gotta keep him in there. I was saying when I was drawing him, he looks like a Zigzagoon, like the Pokemon, more than he does like an actual raccoon.
I'm gonna save this as Zigzagoon.
All right, Zigzagoon. Which where do you think they got that name from?
I can't even start to imagine how they would come up with that.
Zigzagoon?
Zigzag, and then it's a raccoon.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, they're good. They're very clever over there at Game Freak.
It's like how Hitmonlee is like Bruce Lee, and then Hitmonchan is like Jackie Chan, and one punches and one kicks, even though both of them did both.
Yeah, well, the comparisons have to stop at some point. They're also Pokemon.
No, they're Pokemon. Also, it's the English translation of the Pokemon. Who knows? I wonder what Hitmonlee was called in the original like Japanese Pokemon. Though.
Oh shit! So the names are different in both.
I have to assume.
Well, like what about ones like Pikachu? Like obviously that's Pikachu is universal.
I guess you're right, but like Hitmonlee. Like he punches people or he kicks people. So like hit
Right.
mon and like you hit. I don't know. It just seems like that's
Like
like for
Psyduck is
instance.
two English words.
Yeah, or Zigzagoon is zigzag and raccoon. So like I have to assume that Pikachu because it's I don't know. Pokemon names in Japanese. I spelled Japanese wrong right there.
You know what Pokemon we should draw?
What the
Not
Scyther?
Scyther. I don't know.
Okay, so I don't know what this means. So it says in English. It says English Bulbasaur, and then Japanese Kana it gives a bunch of like Japanese characters. So I assume that's like how it's written out in. But then it says Hepburn, Fushigidane.
In Japanese, Bulbasaur is Audrey Hepburn.
What is Hepburn? Why is that? Like, it's Kana, Hepburn, and then trademarked.
Oh, do you not speak fluent Japanese?
No, I don't. But like that's not like the names. Those are like the categories. So it's like English, and then
It's
under
like
Japanese
plant.
is 3 categories.
Oh.
And then like usually Hepburn and trademarked look the same. It's like for Squirtle, and Hepburn and trademarked it's Zenigami.
Boy, we're really learning some stuff today.
I don't think I am though. That's the thing. Let's find Hitmonlee. And Japanese Hepburn, whatever that means. I gotta Google that now. Japanese Hepburn. What is that? It's the romanization of Japanese language. So it's like where we take Japanese characters and then make them into characters that we're able to read, I believe.
Alright.
Is this interesting to anybody? I have no idea.
Probably to somebody. Plead the Filth is here and says,
Hey.
I love Farfetch'd for no real reason.
Which one is that one?
He's like a duck holding a leak.
Oh yeah, I do like him.
Yeah,
I
his
don't
character
know why,
design's
but, like,
fun and his name's fun.
He's the Carrot Top of Pokemon because he's got the leak.
He's the only prop comic out of.
Yeah. Well, I guess actually, unless you consider Cubone, which is.
I was gonna
his
bring.
dead mother's.
That doesn't seem like a prop. I don't know what show that is. That's like some Edgar Allan Poe shit.
That's true. It's if the dude from Psycho is doing prop comedy.
If he were a Pokemon.
Yeah.
Should've called him
Hitmonlee
Bates.
in Japanese
Bates, Mom.
romanized like. Sorry, go ahead.
We should have called him Bates. No, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Whatever. Go
Bates.
ahead.
That would actually be pretty great. Hitmonlee in romanized Japanese language is Sawamura, and then Hitmonchan is Ebiwara.
I wonder if it's also
know
popular martial artists.
Maybe, but there's also like they both end with an R and then an A with a horizontal line over them. So I'm wondering if that has some significance in Japanese language because the Japanese characters look like they both have like the way the last 2 characters are in the Japanese thing is, and this is terrible representation of these characters.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. This is it
It's
looks
coming
like
from
this
a
actually.
white
These
guy
are the
that doesn't
last
know
2
Japanese. I feel like that buys you some wiggle room.
Yeah, so that's like what both of the Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan in Japanese, Kana, have that at the end of them. So that's I'm assuming plays into their names somehow. Maybe if I look in the article, it'll go further. Because I remember back when like the newest Pokemon game came out with like all the fancy 3D graphics and stuff. Like people took the numbers, like I guess everyone has like these weird gym uniforms with the numbers on them, and people took the numbers that were on the trainers' jerseys, and then found that there was like significance in the meaning of like the numbers on each of the trainers' jerseys or whatever.
Okay.
Like the haunted type girl, her numbers on her jerseys or whatever like meant spooky or something in Japanese. That's not the exact
numbers.
case, but it was something like that.
Okay.
Trying to see if I can find anything about this. I said at the beginning of this episode, I'm not going to search this. That'd be a waste of time. And now here I am just like going down a wormhole of
I at
what
least
Pokemon
appreciate
names
that
mean
you're
in
looking stuff
Japanese.
up. I feel like so often we're like, what is that? I don't know. I guess we'll never know. And then we just move on with the show.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's a way to find this out to some degree.
I wonder what that way is.
You should Google it.
What was that?
You should Google how to find answers to questions that you don't know the answer to.
That's a good idea. Google, how do I find answers to questions? I don't know. I'm having a hard time finding the answer to this one, man.
I guess there's no way.
Name. Oh, of course the word tournament has the word name in it, so I can't. Wait, origin. Based on its Japanese name and kicking attribute, Hitmonlee may represent Japanese kick. You're actually right. May represent Japanese kickboxer Tadashi Sawamura.
Yeah.
Hitmonlee may be a personification of martial arts that focus on kicking, such as kickboxing, savate, Muay Thai, and Taekwondo. Due to its lack of head, Hitmonlee's design bears a resemblance to mythical headless men, such as Xingshan and Hindu demon Kabanda. I'm looking up Xingshan. Oh wow, yeah. Okay, you have to see this drawing, man.
Does it
This
look
is
like
fucking incredible.
Hitmonlee?
This is what they're saying Hitmonlee might be based off of, and you know, there's a lot of like old Japanese like mythical figures, like creatures that are half of them are like spooky as hell, and half of them are like this guy.
Dude, I feel like we were born at the wrong time because I feel like we could be successful artists back in the day.
I know, right?
Granted, we'd probably be killed for being like weak.
True. I mean, if I was around during the Khmer Rouge, I would have been killed.
We'd be born and they'd throw our, like, as infants, they'd, like, throw us off a cliff. They'd be like, no, they will not make good warriors.
Yeah.
They have drawers' hands.
This is the Kabanda. This is what they may have also based Hitmonlee off of.
Right. What do you know?
Yeah. And then let's go to Hitmonchan because...
I wish Hitmonlee had little men with swords hanging out on his...
That'd be kind of dope. That'd be a cool Pokemon.
I agree.
Name origin. Hitmonchan is a combination of hit, monster, and Chan, a reference to Jackie Chan. The name is also related to Tyrogue's other... Tyrogue? What? Is that... What? Okay, so apparently later on
really
they added a
down the rabbit hole.
Pokemon that... What Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee evolved from.
Oh, is that in the game now?
I guess so.
Let's see what that looks like.
It evolves into one of 3 different Pokemon starting at level 20. Lee, Hitchan, and on top. So this is Tyrogue.
Oh yeah, I do know
he's
about
a
that.
rogue
I forgot.
and his name's Tyrone.
I forgot about that. That fella.
So I've never known about that. That's new to me.
I've played most of them except for the last, like, couple.
I have the one that's got Whale Lord on the cover, but I haven't, like, my girlfriend at the time played that further than I ever have, but I should get back into that. I wouldn't mind having a little Game Boy game to, like, lug around and play. And then Hitmontop. Honestly, this might be my favorite Pokemon drawing I've ever seen.
Oh, that's high praise.
This is going to cover up most... Jesus.
That's fine.
Hold on. But Hitmontop, honestly, is just super cute, and I kind of really like it.
Some solid design.
Yeah. Trying to get it down to, like, a copy and pastable size. So this is Hitmontop right here. It's kind of...
And he hangs out on his head. That's cool. I like it.
And he's just like, it's cute. It's really cute.
And it's like, is he mad, or is it just I can't really read his eyebrows when he's upside down?
Right, and like maybe he's got like a head rush going on. Oh, he looks mad all the time. He's super cute. This is what you can evolve into aside from a Hitmonchan and a Hitmonlee. That's adorable.
And then they should have...
Look at the little guy. He's so cute. He's like... He looks like Knuckles the Echidna, except his knuckles are on his feet.
He's a break dancer. That's what Fleetfield says.
He is.
And right.
Maybe he's based on the characters from Samurai Champloo. You don't know that yet, but you will when you get to that show.
It should come with a piece of cardboard. But
It should. So, speaking of which, do you want to tell the audience about Cowboy Bebop?
Um,
Because you've
I
just been
like
watching
it.
that a lot lately. Yeah. I don't know if you have anything.
Ian, Ian convinced me to watch it, and I like it a lot. And recently found out that it only has like 26 episodes. So thanks for that
You're welcome.
heartbreak. If you have any like senior dogs you'd like me to take care of and grow close to as well, I can do that for you. Or like, anything that I can get attached to that's going to just hurt me soon.
Yeah. It's if anyone wants to,
If you have an
uh,
elderly dog that needs a home,
yeah, you have like a punch in the gut. You're just looking to give out to somebody.
yeah. So I've been enjoying it a lot, but I'm knowing that it's going to be over just about as soon as it started. So that's unfortunate.
Well, yeah, like I said, you can always go on to Samurai Champloo, which is kind of like watching the same show but with different setting and characters and
Yeah.
universe and everything.
I
But
will,
it's
but I'm just
so good.
Cowboy Bebop you like better though?
I don't know. I kind of love the aesthetic of Samurai Champloo a little more because like I love space like bounty hunters and jazz and like it's harder to find a cooler combination than that. But also samurais and breakdancing, sword fighting shit is like kind of dope as hell with like hip hop soundtrack and like I mean I love beats, so like that's
Yeah.
kind of like up my alley. But
You do love beats. You're always
I
saying.
do like making beats.
Do you like do you prefer them like pickled?
I like my beats where like, my favorite part of beats is every time I eat them. Then the next day I'm on the toilet and I'm just like, oh no.
You have to call your
Oh, wait.
doctor again.
It turns out it's fine. I had beats yesterday. It's okay.
I keep my doctor on the speed dial. 'Cause I
Yeah.
eat a lot of
Sorry,
beets.
doc.
He's like,
I had
did you eat
beets.
beets again? You're like, oh shit. Yes. Sorry.
That's right.
I keep forgetting that it looks just like internal bleeding when
Yeah.
I eat beets.
My favorite beats are the ones from Doug singing "Ai Ai," "Killer Tofu," and etc. etc.
I need more allowance. Yodelay-hoo-hoo.
I need more allowance. Yodelay who. Why?
Well,
Because I do.
You can't argue with that logic.
Can't argue with that logic right there. Isn't there one more? Like, actually, I remember when I was
I think
like,
there's multiple songs, but that was like the popular one. Was I need more
Yeah.
allowance.
I have 3 recordings of like the full songs somewhere on a hard drive, or I know my brother does, where it's just like they recorded a whole song for the show, and we have those MP3s somewhere.
That's awesome. I bet you could find them on YouTube if you
That's true. Yeah, you
they
can
probably
find everything on
exist at this
YouTube.
point.
I'm gonna go to the chat real quick because I saw there was a couple of references while I was looking up
Okay.
all the Japanese language stuff. Hiragana, which I believe that's a type of writing of Japanese language. Hiragana is that's the Japanese language like written down. For us it's Roman alphabet. For them it's hiragana, I believe, unless
Okay.
I am reading this wrong.
It's like the character, list we kind of go from, so to speak, or no?
Something.
Understand.
Hiragana is a Japanese syllabary, one component of the Japanese writing system, along with katakana and kanji, and in some cases romaji. It's a phonetic lettering. So there's like multiple ways of writing out the Japanese language, I guess.
I wish our letters looked like cool drawings.
Do you ever wonder if the fact that like it's such subtle differences in like so many like characters with like these things in them that like maybe that is why, like, because you can kind of like fucking scribble out the Roman alphabet and like it looks like shit, and like you're like, I can still read it though, and like you see a lot of people who are, I don't know if this is racist or anything, but it's Japanese artists, and they have they're very good at creating like strong strokes, or like not like whenever I do a line, like it's like wavery and like it looks like a fucking
Okay.
wiggly line like this, but like you see so many manga artists who just like they're able to do
Is it
very
possible that it's just because it's foreign, it comes off as that way? Like, are there
Maybe.
people that have like a tattoo? Are there people in like Asia that don't speak English or write English that have a tattoo that says like water and just like Comic Sans, and they think it looks awesome? Like, is that a thing?
I don't doubt it, honestly.
It might
I feel
just
like I've
because
seen
it's
one or
foreign
two
to
of
us,
that.
it seems like cooler. I don't know if
I mean that's definitely a situation where like people will be like, "Can you write water on my arm?" And then like they'll just write fucking piece of shit instead in like the language.
In the end, though, that would end up being funnier to me.
I think I would almost appreciate, like, I would never be the type of person to be like, "Can you write another culture's language on my arm?" And like fucking like I don't know, it seems like so like I don't know, it just seems very appropriaty to be like if I were to ask for like Day of the Dead like candy skulls on my arm, like people would assume I have like some connection to Day of the Dead when I don't. It would just be like
You
an
just like
aesthetic.
them.
It's almost like if you were to have a bunch of people like drawing menorahs on their like getting tattoos of menorahs and stuff like that and being like, check it out, it's so cool. And like it's just a different culture that you have romanticized.
Right. Yeah. That's something.
Yeah,
Captain Chibi says calligraphy is still a very popular art form in places like Japan. So that makes sense too. Like,
that does make sense. Yeah, and you know, when you were talking about tattoo artists, I have seen a lot of American tattoo artists and English speaking tattoo artists or writing tattoo artists that have done like very ornate, detailed. I guess what I'm trying to say is, where the fuck do people get the dexterity so their hands can make these very like clean lines that are? I'm just jealous, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
shit ton of practice, I guess. I mean, like, my hands
Yeah,
are, you
literally
know,
that.
less shaky than they used to be. I guess it's just like the amount of time you put in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard. It definitely is practice, because, you know, and learning to use the mediums that you're using, like, specifically.
True.
Well, you got the shakes there, buddy.
I
need
do,
a
that's what I
drink.
say. I don't got no dexterity.
Maybe put some points in there when the next time you level up.
I think I should. Yeah, I need to figure out how to distribute my attribute points more evenly.
The professor says, "Do you think there are Japanese people, who have like the word desk tattooed on their arm because it's okay?" So this is what we were just talking about. Yeah, I don't know. I hope so. I have to imagine the equivalent exists because there's people here with that.
So that's true, but also consider that like a lot of the world speaks English.
Sure.
And I feel like that's a grift you can't pull off. Like, cause like in order to pull off that grift to like a bunch of Americans, like you have to like go back to America and then be like, check it out, dude, I got love written on my arm in Japanese. And then you have to have like a group of 50 people who none of them will notice that it's wrong. But like if it's like an English word, within the first 10 people, I have to assume they'll notice. Like some countries, like they speak, like when I went to Italy, like everyone spoke English. Like I try to learn Italian and I try to speak Italian because it's just respectful if you're in their country to try and like learn their language. I feel like, especially if you're a tourist. So I tried to like speak Italian, but I was fucking terrible at it because I was like 17 and I was spending like 2 weeks reading a book. But if I tried, they would be nicer to me. But they all spoke English.
Okay.
So I feel like it's harder to do with the English language because it's such a widespread language, and like it's a fairly unique thing, not like 100%, but it's fairly unique that Americans are multilingual or monolingual or whatever, where they only speak one language. Most countries do teach multiple languages.
Right.
So I feel like that's a harder grift to pull off.
Yeah.
With,
Plus, after listening to you talk about that, also things aren't just like, you can't just flip flop a whole scenario. It's all based on culture and stuff like that. Like, it's not like, well, if it happens here, then it happens the opposite way over there. It's like there's part of our culture that's interested in like parts of their culture. In the same way that it's strange phenomenon that I just heard about recently. Not phenomenon, but one thing that is in Japan, they're super into like mid-century America, like greasers and like leather jackets and like that whole look, like what?
Oh yeah, like
so like it's just weird, yeah. So it's like weird, cultural things where they just like hits a note in other countries and then becomes like almost like a trend, and then so like we do it to them in some ways and they do it to us in different ways.
It's also worth noting that, like, the sort of wanting to appropriate other cultures is largely like a sort of like white person phenomena, because of, like, I mean, what, like, a lot of people have like a culture or a heritage that they can kind of like go back to and be like, yeah, I my family practices this, and et cetera, but I know I have Italian family and things like that. That's why we visited Italy, was like visit the family. But like when my grandma came to America, she didn't pass on any of her Italian traditions or anything like that to her kids, because like at that time period she was like really made fun of, and she wasn't like, so like being a young Italian kid in like America, she was kind of put through the ringer.
She wasn't a big fan of that aspect.
Yeah, so she didn't like really pass on any of that stuff to like my dad or like his sisters or anything like that. Like she could have taught us Italian language, and she just didn't, because she thought, because of the way she was treated. And I'm not saying that that's the situation for everybody, but like I don't necessarily have like a heritage I can go back to and be like, oh yeah, my family, we cook polenta every blah blah blah, and et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
Like we just, and like a lot of, I think, white families, because we've all been homogenized down to white, instead of being like, oh, I have German roots, I have Dutch, my family's from Sweden, et cetera, et cetera. It's all been kind of like boiled out of it. So like we do, I think, a lot of times crave sort of these other cultures and
that could
things
be,
like that.
That could be part of it. Yeah, I'm not sure. I also think that either what you're saying could totally be it, or one of the sort of reasons for it. Another thing could just be like countries that I feel like countries where you're comfortable enough, like that you can spend your time just digging into like what other people are doing and making like turning it into an aesthetic.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like I was just saying with like Japanese people wearing like leather jackets and pompadours and stuff like that. It's like you wouldn't see it in a country where you're like fighting to survive, but like in a country where you're like relaxed enough that you can, or like you have enough comforts that you can just like appropriate aesthetics and culture and stuff like that. That might be part of it too. I don't know, because I don't think it's 100% a white person thing, because
I'm not saying it's 100%. I'm just saying I think there's a lot of that, though.
Yeah, we do it a lot. We're pretty guilty of it.
Of white people being like, oh my god, Day of the Dead, let me get candy skulls tattooed on my eyelids. And it's just like, your family has never participated in Day of the Dead. You just think the candy skulls look cool.
You just like the look, yeah.
And I think I just think that happens a lot. I don't think it accounts for every situation, but like, not to call him out, but like, okay, so like I have a cousin, and I talk to him on Twitter, because he's my cousin, and like, stuff like that. But I saw him post recently, like somebody was like, hey, I did this thing, it's about like Japanese culture, et cetera, and then this cousin of mine who is white, and our closest heritage would be like Italian ancestry. And then he went on like a whole reply to this person saying like, oh, I love Japan, I wish I was Japanese, I think I was Japanese in a previous life. And like the whole time I read that, I was just like, oh dude, come on, like just stop. Like you're fetishizing another culture because you want something. It was just a very, I don't know, whenever somebody is like, I wish, I imagine I was born this other country in a previous life.
Yeah, that's always
like,
dumb.
I get it.
I'm cool with you saying like, oh, I wish I was born there or something like that. That's fine. You're allowed to. But to be like, I feel as if, I just have a connection with these people.
I love Japan because I love anime and like Pocky and etc. Like it's just, that's not, you're condensing it. You don't know what the culture you're claiming you wish you were part of actually is like a lot of the times.
Right.
So it was just I saw my cousin post that, and I was just like, I feel like I should message him and tell him like, that's not the look, chief. But
well, what are we supposed to do when we live in a place where we hate our own culture?
Right.
Do we just
that's
kill ourselves?
That's the hard
is that
part.
the only solution?
Is to take a bunch of other people's. Or we could make our own, but everything is so derivative nowadays. It's hard.
I feel like you just got to come up with something completely new.
Yeah. Speaking
Just
of
come up with a
coming
weird
up,
costume and start wearing it around. Convince other people to wear it too.
I like that idea. I've been reading this book by Chuck Palahniuk because right before this whole pandemic happened, I visited a friend and we watched Knives Out, and then he gave me two books about pandemics because I guess it was on his mind to read. So the one is a Chuck Palahniuk book called Rant, and I haven't gotten into the pandemic part yet, but it's definitely going to happen because the main character has like rabies or whatever. It's an interesting book, but I'm not going to get a whole lot into it. But like, I'm getting into this part of the book. It's like about halfway through now, where you're starting to find out that the whole book takes place in like a sort of dystopian future. They don't really they like make brief references to it throughout the book, except for like, but it's all very confusing and you don't know what the fuck they're talking about till you get to like halfway through the book, and then you start to realize like, oh, all these weird words they've been using, that all makes a lot. So it's all going to make sense by the end of the book. I hope.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the aspects of the book is that like in this future there's like this culture around like putting on costumes and like gluing shit to your car and then crashing your car into other people and stuff like that.
Oh.
And it's interesting because like, this is the guy who made Fight Club, so he's like into like, and I've read 3 of his other books, so like a lot of times he'll make these books about like countercultural movements or just like society taking these weird things and running with it. He seems to have an interest in that sort of thing. Like
Yeah.
Fight Club is very much about like a bunch of dudes getting into this weird underground clique and like forming a movement, and like this book has similar aspects to that. But I gotta tell you what, I'm not super thrilled about this like counterculture thing in this book because I just don't find it interesting at all. It's like he's like trying to make it weird. He's trying to make it like, because like every cultural movement, if you really boil it down, is just confusing as shit because it's like such an amalgamation of like 30 different things that happened within like a time span.
There's no, you couldn't, even if you tried, you can't make it like a dot by dot like map on how to change culture. It's gotta like happen from a bunch of shit. You can't like steer that.
Yeah, if you were to distill like a cultural movement down into like sediment, and like you had one of those pans that like people were searching for gold in, I don't know what those things are called, but like if you were to like distill a culture and like down into like the sort of shit
pan.
that somebody is in like shaking one of those pans looking for gold with, like you just get like a bunch of like a million different colored rocks that all like make that thing up, but in just completely like tangential ways that are like so off the beaten path of like what you'd expect. Like it's like, for instance, if like there was a culture spawned off of Fall Guys, it's not based on like an elimination challenge or like a battle royale. It's going to be based on like having a dinosaur head or something, like just some shit you would just not expect people to run with. Like that's what every cultural movement ends up being. So like this whole cultural movement that he like makes up in this book, like it's very weird and it's very niche, and like I get he's trying to sort of capture that element to it, but I don't buy it. And like you'd think I would because of all the crazy cultural shit that's happening, but I don't know, it just doesn't strike me as authentic in the book.
Yeah.
And also, I don't give a shit about cars, so it's also not particularly interesting to me. Also, so.
It's a lot of what happens in it. There's a
lot of car talk on NPR, but no, there's a lot of car talk happening in this book related to this cultural movement, and I couldn't give less of a shit because I don't fucking care about cars.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we can't all be winners.
This is true. Can't all write Fight Club every time.
Right.
Or Choke. Or Snuff's a good book too. Snuff's a good.
Yeah, we'll have to recommend some books to me.
Yeah. What's a book you've read lately?
I think the last one I read was Perfume.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah, that's right. And we talked about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good book. I did actually. I have been discussing. Well, I've been just messaging back and forth a friend of mine, and that friend is the one who lent me her copy of Perfume. And I was actually talking to her about how you had read the book recently. Because I was like, I let a friend of mine read the book, and he really liked it, etc., etc. And she said that the Netflix series, she said that the Netflix series is based on the book, but it's like a modern retelling of it, sort of thing.
Oh, I didn't know there was a Netflix series.
There was. I remember seeing that and being like, "This looks like it's based on the book, but it's not set in like 14th century France or whatever." And then so it's based on like a modern version of it, which is that's always an interesting take on something.
Yeah. Well, I'll be.
I have to
check that out. Yeah.
Has there been any? Sorry, you were about to say something?
No, not really. I was just gonna reiterate that was the last thing I read.
Oh yeah, Perfume, which I do recommend to the viewers. It's a good book.
Super weird, but good.
Yeah, it's very weird. It's called Perfume: Story of a Murderer. It's about a guy who gets obsessed with. Well, he's born obsessed with smells, essentially, and then he starts to murder people to get their scent. And I feel like that's almost giving too much away, but it's still.
Yeah, because it's not necessarily like the obvious direction it's going.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't even necessarily, start off with that. He tries to do other things, and then he can't get the smells exactly right, so then he starts killing people.
Yeah, they do sort of give up the ghost by saying it's called The Story of a Murderer, so he's going to murder eventually.
Right.
There's just a lot of shit that happens in that book, but
yeah, it's weird. But it's fun. I liked it. It stuck with me a little bit. I think about it from time to time.
Right, it's a book. I mean, like I told you when I first recommended it, but like when I read it, I was like alone in an apartment in Philly during like a hot summer with like everyone else had gone home for the summer, so I was like very isolated when I first read it, and it's very much a book about like an isolated character. So yeah. I was in a weird mindset when I read that book, man.
It's also like. It's just like very bizarre in the stuff that happens that it almost feels like a biblical tale or something. Like it's like all over the place, and like a lot of the things are very like kind of like don't really like supernatural qualities and things like that.
Yeah, there's a little bit of magical realism in there.
So it kind of keeps it interesting as well.
Yeah. This drawing looks pretty done, I would say.
All right. Saving it.
Save it. You wouldn't know it, but there was Pokemon in this drawing originally.
I drew, so the reason I drew this thing is because you had me look up a sable, which is a, like, weasel, but there's also a deer-like character, or not character, animal called a sable that was in the Google search results, and then I wanted to try to draw it.
Oh, I did find that, sable deer.
That's how we got here.
Called a Hippotragus niger.
It's easier to say sable, I think.
It is 100% easier to say sable. It's called the sable antelope.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Interesting. Well, that's good to know.
So we have like 5 minutes left.
You want to do a rock, paper, pencil real quick?
Could potentially do a really quick one.
Yeah, like a black and white. We don't have to like draw the frame. We can just draw like two drawings next to each other. I kind of made my dude look a little bit like Nigel Thornberry, but I didn't want to like go all the way with it.
What should our rock, paper, pencil be?
Cosmic horror.
Cosmic horror.
Draw what you would if there were like a cosmic monster that you were to encounter, that upon looking upon it, your mind would break and it would cause you to go insane because of the extreme truth that you have learned. What would that creature be?
Wow, that's a good idea, but this is supposed to be a quick one. That's going to take me 10 minutes to come up with an idea even before I start drawing.
All right, we don't got to do that. I was just saying that
I like it.
Lovecraft Country came out, and it's apparently very good.
Oh, cool. So I had heard about that. Is it like based with like monsters and stuff, like in the Lovecraftian?
Yeah, it's basically they take Lovecraft and then like Lovecraft was like super racist. Like if you want to know how racist Lovecraft is, which I feel like everyone knows at this point, but in case you don't, just look up what he named his cat,
because it's not great.
I never read Lovecraft. I just went to art school, and there's a lot of kids that are like obsessed with Lovecraftian stuff there, it seems.
People are upset. I mean, he did sort of spawn a whole genre of like
Monsters and
cosmic horror. I mean, I'm not sure how 100% he is involved in the creation of it, but I know he definitely had a big part. Like, a lot of people, like, making their creepy stuff nowadays reference Lovecraft and things like that, but he was super racist, so I believe like his like cosmic horror monsters were sometimes just analogies for race, like people of different races, and like his fear of them and things like that. So Lovecraft Country is like sort of like retelling his stories, but making them not racist. And,
that's
like,
good.
Sort of, yeah, it's actually it's being, I think, produced by Jordan Peele. I don't know like how involved he is in it, but it's sort of taking that, like, his concepts and then actually like making them make sense in our society, you know, and but like still keeping like the scariness of the stories and things like that. I hear it's good. I haven't watched it yet.
I'll check it out. I'm hunting around for some new shows right now. I just finished a few. I've been watching Dave.
I've been watching Dave. I put you onto that, I believe.
Yeah, you did. Still
like
finishing up Cowboy Bebop, so I got some stuff to watch right now.
I actually, so I made a post about the show Dave on Twitter, because I was watching this one scene where this character sort of reveals some sadness in his life and things like that, and then I was like, the whole time I was watching the scene, I was just like, somebody needs to give this guy a hug, and then somebody did, and I was like, yeah, this is a good show. And I wrote that as a tweet essentially, and then the dude in the show, Gata, he actually retweeted my tweet.
Really?
And
that's awesome.
Yeah, he retweeted it, and let me tell you how many, like, it's my most engaged post on Twitter.
That's funny.
It is, and like, it's super cool of him to do that. Like, I appreciate him doing that. I mean, it's a tweet about him, so I get it, but like, still. But 14 retweets and 214 likes, and that's the most I've ever gotten paid attention to on Twitter.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that was cool. Thank you, Gata, for the retweet. I really appreciate
What's
that.
his real name? Yeah, I don't know if you don't know that.
I don't know his real name. Let me find out for you, because I'm not sure. It might be Gata. I mean, I don't know. People.
It's possible.
People
I think the main guy in the show's named Dave Berg, actually.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think so. Like, I believe
Well,
it's all based, like, everyone is based on like the real people who were them. Maybe no, I don't think so, because the one dude I recognize as an actor, but Gata is based on himself for sure.
That's awesome.
Because like on it, like one of his pinned tweets on his Twitter was like him talking about sort of like the realness of that scene that I was sort of commenting on when I was watching the show. I do not know his real name.
Well, I mean, if he goes by Gata, that's cool. I just wanted to give him the credit due of his like actual name if he had one, and we were using his character's name. I didn't know.
Yeah, he goes by Gata on Twitter. I'm looking. I should look him up on IMDb. Let's dox this guy, everybody.
That's what you get for retweeting me.
His name on IMDb is Gata.
Okay, so there you go. Okay, then I just wanted to make sure he was getting properly plugged or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's Gata. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it so far. I'm only a couple episodes in.
I'm loving it. I'm really enjoying the show. Because, like, here's the thing I like about it a lot is, so, like, whenever I'm hanging out with my friends and stuff, like, you know, we're all very supportive people of each other. I tell my friends I love them and stuff like that because they could die tomorrow, and that's all for all I know. And I love my friends. I want them to know that I appreciate them in my life. And in Dave, like, they hug each other and tell each other they love each other all the time. And I'm like, that's a real friendship right there. That's indicative of my friendship with my friends.
And you don't see a lot of that. It's usually just like try to rip each other a new asshole.
Yeah,
nonstop.
It's usually like people being dicks to each other, and I'm just like, I get it. It's funny to watch people like slam each other all the time, but
nice
like I also enjoy some good wholesome content.
Yeah, I agree.
Devonte Devonte, I don't know how to say Devonte. I want to say Ganter is his real name, so Ganter being Gata makes a lot of sense. That's pretty cool. But yeah, the professor says that Dave has some solid programming. I agree. I hear the last episode is wild. Like I remember.
Is it over?
I mean, the first season it came out like in March or something like that on FX. It's only 10 episodes, so it doesn't take long for like the season.
Oh, okay. So it's like not finale though. Like there's probably more seasons coming.
I have to assume. Let's find out if Dave got renewed for season 2.
I've only been hearing good things, so I have to assume so.
Yeah, it's got a season 2 coming out. Release date. What's the release
To be determined.
date? Let's see. Of course, you know, don't you hate it when you click on a website and then like the article gets pushed down by 500 ads?
Yeah. I also
You
love
gotta
when
keep
they're like, you have ad block on, so you can't look at our website unless you turn it off. And then I just go, oh, well, goodbye then.
Yeah,
So
like,
it's
well, half the time
it's like you
can't
don't
even look at your
hold
website.
you don't hold the power.
Yeah,
you want
I
people
do.
to come to your website. I'll just leave.
Also, like, if you have AdBlock turned, I have never downloaded AdBlock because I'm trying to be like, I'll support the websites, etc., etc. But like, the thing they don't tell you is that like half these websites are unfucking navigatable with ads because like everything is just like constantly getting shifted around.
It's a mess. And then I think this is a conspiracy theory, but I think sometimes the ads are specifically set up to shift, so you click on them.
Yeah,
Because there's
100%.
so often that I'm like on a site and I go to click the thing I want, and then all of a sudden the whole website goes like bloop, moves, and I press on something, and then it gets sent to another website where it's like.
Yep. I have
Yeah,
that theory
I like
about
this.
like ads you get on your phone, like in games and things like that, like where they make the tiny X that your finger has to touch, and then half the time you're just like,
It moves.
why am I going to the Apple store? Like I definitely hit that X with my finger, but
Right. You'll do it.
because I've 100% hit ads where like it's 100% fake, like that X button is not real,
Yeah.
and that strikes me as that should be illegal.
It's disingenuous.
It's disingenuous at best and illegal at worst. So this is a picture of the DrawBomb guy running from the other character from Rayman Legends.
I was just gonna say a Rayman monster. So it apparently scans. It's the DrawBomb running from our other DrawBomb character that we just never draw. Wiggleman. He's the other popular. There's the Bomb Man, and then there's Wiggleman.
I call him Flappy Frog because
Yeah.
it's like Flappy Bird, except he is a frog.
Honestly, the reason we don't draw him that often and give him the representation he deserves is because we argue over the name a lot.
We do. We fought over. That's why we also don't do celebrity swap 'em ups anymore. Is because we still never agreed on a name.
No, we did. We came up with the name.
Did we?
It's celebrity swap 'em up, or no, it's a celebrity switcher.
See?
Celebrity switcheroo.
Oh, that's right. Well,
the
I call him
official name.
celebrity swap 'em up. So
Well, you're wrong. So.
there's a head swap.
But yeah, the reason that we did the show originally and then never did the show for like a year and then came back was because we were arguing over Wiggleman's name.
That's right. Flappy Frog.
It's funny to me that if that were true, we're fighting over such a stupid.
Right? Would you like? We just have like creative differences, and we never do a show again because we just couldn't come up like if we just couldn't figure out a name for DrawBomb, it never happened. We did deliberate over the name of this
Yeah,
for quite some time.
I feel like DrawBomb is nice, short and sweet.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's got a good sound. It's got a good ring to it.
We were gonna call it Draw Fee, but then it turns out that was taken.
I know, right? And then we decided we were gonna try and lift like what they do wholesale, but no, it's all right.
Their lawyers contacted us and said no.
They gotta stop. It's bad enough that you're basically taking our shtick.
In our defense, we didn't know they existed when we started.
Yeah, we were actually doing an episode, and then somebody let us know that
Yeah,
it
one of
was
our
similar
viewers.
to this thing. And we're like, shit.
I guess we should have suspected.
To be fair, I've still never watched an episode of DrawBomb.
I haven't either. We probably should, just to see like
We should, yeah.
what they got going on there. Yeah.
I do know they have money and they make money, so
Right.
I would like that.
Yeah, that's the one part I would like to copy from there.
Is the making money.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Speaking of making money, we got a bar at the bottom of the screen. Ian's computer is currently broken, and
Yeah, it blew up.
yeah, we're looking for any donations. You know,
If anybody wants to give Papa some money. 'cause
I
my
know
computer-
there's a change shortage, but if you can scrounge together a few nickels, toss them our way,
Please.
and then Ian will be.
My computer couldn't
living the
pick a
good life.
worse time to decide to kill itself. It was like, hey, the pandemic happened. Hey, you have a lot of free time. Hey, you want to like really hunker down and make some art.
I'm gonna kill myself.
Dead.
That's how it goes.
Thank God I have his tablet.
Yeah, honestly.
What an amazing drawing we have done here. What an amazing show we have done here today.
We've done a lot of amazing things, that's for sure.
Shall we harken back to 2 hours ago and just recap what we've done?
On the show? Today?
I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like what's like we're not doing a rock paper pencil, so what's like a good way to
Oh.
go? What's a good note to go out on? I don't know.
I thought drawing this like beautiful male Adonis form version of the DrawBomb would be plenty, but I'm open to ideas.
Wait.
I'm not against hearkening. I've hearkened in my
Let's harken a little bit. Let's say so. You know, we did. Oh, whoa!
something happened there.
I got reset.
How's it
Yeah.
feel?
So we did some Fall Guys. We talked about some books. Talked about Pokemon.
It's true. These are things we did.
You got anything you want to plug?
Every Monday at 8 o'clock, watch DrawBomb,
DrawBomb.
a show for friends,
Right.
made by
if you-
friends.
If you tell us things, we'll respond to it, and we might draw them.
Yeah. And if you want to play Fall Guys with us, join the Discord and let us know, and you
Yeah, we'll set it up.
can join us there. The professor just I forgot the way I said that. Wasted $10. Thank you, the professor, for donating to a righteous cause. Ian's
Oh my
on his
goodness.
way. Our begging worked. We panhandled.
Now I feel bad.
successfully.
I feel like
You do?
I pressured him.
Well, he just likes you.
Oh, thank you, Professor.
Do you know the professor?
No, do you? I assumed you knew them.
I don't
Oh, okay.
think so.
Once you're using pronouns, I was just like, you probably know.
Oh no, that's just bad habit.
No.
I
Oh,
go
yeah.
by I the pronouns I use. This is the truth. Is just goes off of the username.
That's fair. Well, I mean, what about the professor? Huh?
Yeah, that says other things bad about me. It turns
This
out.
doctor, like, the doctor said I can't operate on this kid. They're my son. What's the doctor, huh?
And also, it's like, why do I automatically think a professor is male? What does that say about me? Boy, I got some really inner looking to do.
You do, my friend. I did used to. I mean, I did used to hang out with somebody who went as the professor. That was their rap alias.
It's a pretty good
I
one.
don't think this is the same professor though.
It's one of Fritzler's friends.
Oh,
It says-
okay.
We're Animal Crossing friends. All right, so we're practically family. I got you. Okay. Well, thank you very
Yeah.
much. Regardless, we appreciate it.
Dude, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. That's really nice of you to do that. We got. I feel like we should do something for the professor.
Well,
At some point.
once you have your computer, there's so many things you can do.
Do we have like a list of people who have donated? Because we could do.
No, but we could dig back in. We've only received, I think,
103 donations.
Three
I would say,
donations.
overall.
Yeah. So, but not to not to say we only, but I'm just saying like we could track down those people. We could figure out.
Yeah.
We should do that. That's a
I'd
good
like
idea.
I'd like to do something nice for them.
Yeah.
Since it's very nice
That
to
was
do that for us.
a great idea. Yeah, Wiggle Man. It's really good drawing of Wiggle Man.
Yeah, Flappy Frog is looking good.
Look, I see why you call him Flappy Frog. Like he has Flappy Frog like qualities, but you know, it's just not that simple. He's not. Everybody's name isn't just what they look like.
That's true. I mean, except for Pokemon, most of them do.
That's how they're all named. It's like, this is a duck wearing a hat. What's his name? Hat
Duck.
Accurate. Just
He
about
is a
done.
frog and he is Flappy. Simple.
Just gonna add some glistening shine to the bomb man.
I saw this picture on Twitter once where it was like somebody did a drawing of somebody, or like it was like showed off like a small section of like a drawing of a person, and it said like the first one was without shiny stuff going on, and it said normal, and then the second one they put like these shines on the body and stuff like that, and then like it said like, oh, this person draws porn.
I like to do it with certain characters. I think it's funny to make that they're all like oiled up like the weird like
the Rock's arms and
yeah like it's all been taught to me from wrestlers and comic books.
Wrestlers have taught you drawing?
No, but they're all...
Brandon, what you want to do is you want to power drive that 360-degree view.
Make sure you're drawn from life, brother.
That's right.
No, but like
Oh,
they obviously
yeah.
there's somebody in the wrestling industry whose job is to like
Grease down.
grease them up before they go out. Because they always come out looking like they just put in a hard day's work, all sweaty. The air just might not be on it inside the arena.
Yeah. Sounds terrible for the people.
They're not wearing much, so you feel like their skin would really be able to breathe. Like they're usually
There's
wearing
a lot
like,
about their costumes that I'm just like, nothing makes sense about any of this.
No.
Like,
It's like comic book characters. It's
they are
all.
basically comic book characters.
Could wrestling exist as it is without G.I. Joe the cartoon? It probably existed before that though.
Oh, 100%
It did, yeah. I was just gonna say like it's the same kind of gimmick where they're just like, I'm
I think
so and so, and then I dressed this way because of that.
I think it's fair to say that G.I. Joe looks the way it does because of wrestlers.
Probably true.
honestly.
Probably true. The professor says he probably has a fancier name like lubricant engineer, and that's true. Like
That is very true. Yeah.
It has to be something that you can throw on a resume and not be embarrassed about it.
Yeah. we call this guy. His position is the.
I was the
The
rock
KY.
listener. That's not a good one either.
Rock listener. I have just
Lubricant
Kyle,
engineers. Yeah.
but it's
Kyle.
Kyle with a KY, capital KY.
I understand. I see what you're doing. All right, I'm gonna save this drawing.
All right, and then as folks can see in the top left corner, thank you for watching.
Oh, I'm sure they feel thanked now that you. In the eyes symbolize what you do when you watch.
Well, I mean, I originally drew them pointing at his genitals.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Or lack thereof.
Yeah. He's no Vitruvian man, that's for sure.
We're adopting the Fall Guys technique of
That's right. This is Fall
nothing
Guys.
is edgy.
Fall Guys 2 right here.
No edge, no genitals. Yeah.
No violence.
All the violence has to have like comical cartoon noises like whack and like slide whistles and shit like that.
And it has to be like a
Makes
bunch
it
of
okay. Yeah. Oh, I also missed. Professor says, "Hi, I'm Mark, the wrestler greaser." And then he said, "Or he might have a fancier name like lubricant engineer."
wrestler greaser.
Wrestler greaser is it's just.
That actually makes me think of like a like a hey yo.
So the complaint I was going to say Was wrestler greaser doesn't roll off the tongue because it's two-syllable words back to back. But lubricant engineer is also has matching syllables, so I don't know why it doesn't sound right to me. Wrestler greaser. I don't know. That's.
Hey yo, I'm gonna take you to the top turnbuckle.
I love the idea of a wrestler who includes the word wrestler in his name.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey, before I do this scrap with you and my fellow greasers over here with the socias, let me take off my leather jacket and comb my hair back. Oh!
wrestler greaser is fighting wrestler Undertaker in this match. The greaser. That could be a wrestler name.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just imagining like the book The Outsiders, but with a bunch of wrestlers as like a wrestling kayfabe thing or kayfabe thing instead.
Hey yo, stay gold, pony.
So basically,
boy.
these
I'm feeling real emotionally broken up over these fights
characters
we're having over
exist.
here.
These characters you're talking about exist. The professor said, "Look up Deuce and Domino," and it's
I
exactly
feel
what
like
you're.
I've seen those guys.
It's
before.
exactly what you're doing right now.
I played a lot of wrestling games.
In
the
fact,
past,
you
so
pretty
I
much
wouldn't
just drew one of them, dead on, minus the sunglasses. I'm not sure whether or not you drew Deuce or Domino. I'm assuming.
Looks like I drew. I don't know, but yeah, one of them is definitely okay. I'm just gonna post the picture here. See, nothing original under the sun, right there. Hey yo.
They're both just like. What's the guy's name? They're both. What's his fucking name?
It reminds me of like that doo-wop group that Frank has, and It's Always Sunny, and they have the old guy die of the heart attack.
They both look like they're like Andrew Dice Clay cosplayers.
They do look like Andrew Dice Clay. That is right. That's what I was trying to think of. The dude looks exactly like Andrew Dice Clay. Get out of here! What's another one of Andrew Dice Clay's catchphrases?
I don't know.
I've never watched a lot of Andrew Dice Clay.
You're not missing it much. He's
No,
kind of a
I
douche.
definitely know I'm not. Product of his time and all that. I just know he'd say things like, "Get out of here," and "You gotta be freaking kidding me."
I like the Sklar brothers do a pretty good bit on him. It's worth checking out.
I should check that out.
But on that
My
note, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna make a stupid joke and say my favorite Andrew Dice Clay joke is, "What you're saying is ridiculous to me, and I refuse to partake in your nonsense." Yeah.
Very wordy.
It is. It's before he really edited himself down.
He hadn't quite. He was still workshopping it at that point.
Exactly.
But on that
Not
note,
quite scan.
I think it's time to shut her down.
We should. If we gave you guys an extra 18 minutes, you're welcome.
Yeah, it was boy, and what an 18 minutes it was. Thanks everybody for watching.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for people in the chat, the professor, Captain Sheepy. Appreciate it. Thank you for the donation
Thank
as
you,
well.
Professor.
That's super nice of you.
Seriously, I really, really appreciate that. That was really nice of you to do that.
You're,
And we will figure out a way to make it cool that you
your,
did that.
your money is going to help a disenfranchised boy get a computer.
I live with my parents.
It's true. Anyways.
Yeah, you should have seen the shithole I lived in before. Like
Right, this is a step up.
I suffered. Yeah, it's much of it. It's a step up. I suffered for a while.
I've lived in some shitholes.
Oh my god.
Glad I don't now. One of them had raccoons in it. We talked about it this episode.
Yeah, that's true. We did.
So
talk
there
about
you
the
go.
raccoon.
That place sucked.
Well,
On that
suck
note,
no longer.
if you live in a shithole, hopefully the show was a temporary escape. And now we're going to leave and send you back to the hellscape that is reality.
Don't forget to join our Discord. Don't forget
Yes.
to check out our YouTube channel where we repost the episodes, so you can go all the way back to episode 1, minus like a few episodes that I forgot. I dropped the ball on those.
There's a few B-side episodes that are lost to time on the,
Yeah, you'll never get those back, and that's fine. I don't think. I feel like once we hit episode 50, we'll really actually have. Nah, let's say episode 100 is when we'll get really good.
We're only on 38 right now. That's
We are. We're actually 52 means we've done this. I mean,
a year.
Actually,
Well, a year's worth of
you know.
episodes. It doesn't mean we've been
Yeah.
doing it a year
a
now.
little bit
but-
longer than that. We missed a couple weeks here and
Anyways, thanks everybody.
there. Yeah, get out of here.
Get out of here. Bye.
What you're saying is so
Oh, wait, I have
strange
to-
to me that
I
I,
have to play
refuse
this
to
off.
acknowledge it with a dignified response.
I'm playing us out. Needs to happen. Oh man, you might be closer than ever before. You pretty much nailed it 100%.
Awesome.
That was the first time you heard it here, folks. We've been trying to do this for probably like the last 6 months, and
Trying is putting it very strongly.
he was giving it his full effort. He practiced
Uh,
during the week in between episodes just to get it right. Never been able to do it, and now all that effort is paid off. And boy, what an exciting time it was.
I made the song. It's not that.
All right, everybody. Goodbye.